Hey everyone, welcome to what will be the bestest and most entertainment you ever seen saw or ever gonna see. Because this is day 16 of the Cara Rintala case, or as we call it where I come from, day 6 of Verdict Watch. Watch.
Watch, watch, watch.
A
Oh my
stream where
gosh.
everything will happen, I guarantee it. Um, And if nothing happens in court, I have friends of the channel who have sent me a few articles to look at from the Ruby Frankie case. I don't know if you're familiar with that one. And a little bit of a funny video. I'll probably be muted because uh, once bitten, twice
I shot.
shy. You got copy strike and you still caught my eye.
I'm
Yeah.
so bad. And you gave some of the best advice last night. It's like, next time before you send me something, upload it into YouTube and see if you get a strike before I show it. I'm like, God damn it. This twice I've done that shit. Oh,
Yeah, and that's the fun about being a YouTuber. You think, "Oh, I found this on a site where everything is okay and YouTube can't be against it," but nope. You
no.
still got and you can't remove the videos, and you can't remove stuff from videos that's more than 6 hours long, so, I'll just have to live with that, and when I become a millionaire, I can move those videos. So, yeah,
When
that's
I talked about it with Dave last night, David, and he has a service that he uses,
yeah,
and whenever I started asking him about it, it it was like, oh, like the co-streaming stuff. So if and I think he was saying that him and Nicholas got
yeah,
some stuff struck, even though they're doing the stream together
yeah,
because Nicholas didn't have it hadn't like registered on his as being eligible to use. So it makes it where, if you're doing a co-stream, you can get somebody else deleted, but not have yours with problems. So,
yeah, but that's not important. It's just fun and games because none of us are monetized, so it really doesn't matter until someday someone wants to make a problem. But chat don't care about that. I pulled up some of the regulars: Vogue, Wesley, Rabbit, Iris, This Way Up, Christine, Wolfram, all the nice people who are hanging out here early. And oh yeah, Lefty didn't die last night. He went to play cowboy games because he's bad at World of Warcraft. Um, Vinesaur all the way from Denmark too. Nice to have some locals, even though she's not that local. 2 hours away, 3 hours away. Wilhelm Media. I hope your stream last night went really well, and you get more eyes on you with the new Murder video you did. It's really interesting. That's what I love about YouTube: meeting new people who can do magic. Reindeer's
yes.
here. Hello, reindeer. So, you've been watching other trials.
Oh,
Well, that reminds me of my marriage. You work
oh,
so hard to try and keep the other one satisfied, and still Tyrone just swings by and shows off his other trials, and off she goes.
yeah. It's
That's what
so
happens.
heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah,
My heart is
it
broken.
yeah. But reindeer, I still love you. Danny T is here talking about loving someone. Good morning. Atheist and yeah, Injustice Purgatory is where we'll be hanging out without Mark and Carla and Black Cards and whatever it is. It's again, how did they watch another trial than we did? I just don't get it.
Yeah.
Um, Sean Bird, we are late and we might be fond of you male contact. So yeah, and oh, by the way, another case I've been following, Adam Montgomery. He might be in court today, so if nothing happens and there's a feed of that, we might put that on just to see how his uh, they're asking for more time because she had a new lawyer. Oh, look who's in chat. Jamie.
Mm.
Little Jamie.
Oh,
Yeah.
she's got a rough day. She's gonna be working. Like, it's that
Yeah, and all the men who keeps her up all night. It's Jamie,
they're
she's young and
bad men.
innocent, and men lure her away from her bed.
Yeah, they're horrible men. Keeping her from getting sleep.
Yeah. Siri, I hope you feel better soon. Remember, a lot of tea. Get some. Put your lay down on the couch with a warm blanket and just sweat it out. It's the best way to get away from cold.
This is not medical advice at all.
Absolutely not, because I don't know anything about anything. So yeah, yeah, Wilhelmer, can't get away from this. It's paint drying, and it's gonna be fun. You're just gonna sit there, watch the screen, just like me. At least you don't have to watch the amazing
This is the
popcorn
paint.
ceiling.
This is the paint drying stream.
Yeah, I should just pour out a gallon of paint and see how fast it'll dry faster than the jury will reach an agreement.
Oh,
Good morning, Irish. Hanging with Baker. Yeah, that's kind of like a 90s sitcom. Nope, Lefty. Nope, nope, nope. 3 hours is closer. Yeah, but as a British comedian said, Americans are just like us. We're only divided by a language and a big ton and a great big ocean. Thank God for that. Hey, Jackpot. Good stream with you and Gusty too. Gusty was on too. Oh,
oh, excellent.
all the fun things happen when I sleep.
Imagine that you actually sleep.
Yesterday, I crashed so hard. I went to bed. I woke up at 6:15 this morning, and I felt like I haven't slept a second. So that's
Yeah.
I need this to end so I can just have. I need to do stuff in my garden as well. It's taking too long.
Mm.
Well, with leisures like that, you would spend a little extra time making it sure to pop just the right way because Jamie knows what's going on in chat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's young and innocent Irish. She's a good girl.
Yes.
She only has lashes for me. Yeah, whiplashes. Ladies,
Whiplashes.
lefty. You'll bump back and forth. Well, just as long as you come back and forth and remember to tickle Shizzy's thumb so he's getting all happy and warm inside.
Yes.
Yeah, but she can carry those lashes. It takes a special woman, and Jamie is the queen.
She is awesome.
Well, Lefty, try drinking some manly beer, and then maybe the ladies will like you. Those Bud Lights, the ladies don't like men who drink Bud Light. Yeah, I changed it up because, as I talked about yesterday, if anyone remember, I said a few words yesterday. I didn't speak at all for 6.5 hours. I was the logo I had was something I just picked up somewhere, and then I thought, well, I could look into doing something myself. That's a bit more my own style, so no one can claim any copyright or anything. I don't know why I'm concerned about copyright right now. Maybe because I'm an idiot and get myself to copyright strike in one stream, or warnings, not strikes. So I fiddled around this morning, and I don't know. I like the Mets colors, orange and blue. I think they pop. Well, who's gonna be on screen while the dialogue runs? Yeah, I watched my first little I have a story video today. They are great.
Mhm.
If you like ghost stories, and who doesn't like ghost stories, you should go and follow this stream, and they're short videos. If you need that, like a 30-minute where you just sit in your chair, close your eyes, and put the feet up, he can keep you entertained for 30 minutes at least with a great story.
Always.
So, Lefty. I was thinking about doing what she's saying is make the logo of two. We call it kringler, and they are shaped kind of like a pretzel. So that could be a thing. I
Hmm.
might be able to because there's a lot of things going on. I could goggle a picture. Can we find? It's some of the driest bread you get, and it's always homemade, and it's not very good. But it's kind of you could do stuff like this. Just have to move it around.
Oh, it does look like a pretzel, but
Yeah,
thicker.
yeah, but
Much.
it's a sweet dough, and you fill it with a marzipan filling, and some heathen puts raisins in it or dried fruit. I like it with the marzipan filling and some jam or something, so it doesn't get so dry. You could put a little cream in it as well. I know some are fond of putting cream in it, and you could do that and make it look all pretty, and then. But I should think about that for my baking streams. I just think this
Mhm.
looks a little more streamlined.
It does. That looks nice, and that can, if you
Well,
want to fill it with cream, then, you should
cream
be
and
able to
jam.
do that. And if you jam, that'd be
You
just
just need a little more cream.
just a little more cream. That's all you need.
Yeah. Orange and blue are the best color combination, but you're using black and yellow.
Orange
Is
and
it
blue.
because you're a Steelers fan? Isn't it Steelers the black and yellow?
Mhm.
Lego logo Kringle. Y- Yeah, it's so hard to build round shapes in Legos. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I'm a big promoter of guys who can go that long.
at least minimum.
Yeah, yeah. It could be a baking stream, but again, the one thing I don't have while I'm waiting this popcorn, viewing this popcorn ceiling is time, because I'm sitting here hoping, praying to God every day that something happens, because uh, at some point
Someday.
something must happen, and today, oh, we missed it
Oh,
because I wasn't live, but we have to play it for you because I know you guys are really interested in seeing this. I'm sorry, the top highlight of
Good morning. Members of the jury, before I send you back to resume your deliberations, I must ask once again about the instructions that I gave you before we broke yesterday.
Oh, it's in court. I was thinking, do I have a stream on feedback?
Well, I'm starting to sound like a broken record here. But you know what they are. Don't discuss the case with anyone, including each other. Refrain from any form of outside research or investigation. Avoid contact with the participants in this case, and avoid all media accounts concerning this case. If anyone had any difficulty following those instructions, please raise your hand. I see no response, and I will send you back to resume your deliberations.
Well, Dave, you can always come on panel, and Jamie will be here later when she's done with the work. The most important part of a stream. Good morning, genitals. Hey, Rabbit, thanks for giving me a little bit giving me a little bit of a like. I really like that. And now I'm gonna put this on so I can hear if they ever come back.
And also make sure to go over and touch my poll. This is a fresh poll this morning. It's not the same one as yesterday.
Yeah, please give the genitals a hand. Yay, Wolfram is back. But yeah, what do we think? Is today the day? Is it gonna happen? They will be. It'll be. How long did we go? Yes, we went to 4 o'clock yesterday. They started. I math correctly, somewhere between 13 and 14 hours. The new jury has been seated for 13 to 14 hours. The previous jury before they snitched to the judge had been seated for 13 and a half hours, must give and take. Yeah, 13 and a half. And the previous jury sat for 18 and a half hours before they snitched to the judge. So they couldn't get it done in 18 and a half hours. So, well, if they come back before lunch, then they're fast. Hey, Tootly. It's because you can say good morning, genitals on every stream.
Yeah, that is the best name.
Yeah.
Let's give a hand for genitals.
Let's raise him up. He's a firm proponent of joining this chat. I like it when I have my genitals here. Yeah, this jury sucks just as much. And again, we can do a little. We can start the day off with a little mind games. A little. What? I had to hit this one, and just. We can do this, and I have to change the color because someone can't see. And if we do this, we have 3 positions. You have guilty, not guilty, and can't decide either way. I still can't get if anyone at this time can be in the 3rd category.
Right.
Because you have been deliberating for so long, you must be somewhere here and here. And I have been square in this one since we began this, because I didn't think they reached beyond a reasonable doubt. But if you're here, how many hours? We can make it interesting. Say it's 10 to 2. You've been going for 13 and a half, 14 hours. No one is gonna swing between these 2 posts, because I still don't believe anyone can be back here. And if you're deadlocked, or it could be 2:10, um, after so many hours, you don't sway somebody's mind. Or the problem could be that they are looking at the 4 counts they could find her guilty,
And then
and
can't
that
agree on those.
yeah, but if you can't agree on those, because let's again, for argument's sakes, we have a lineup kind of like, oh, now I have to do math. You have a lineup kind of like this. You would be able to reach this at least,
Right.
for and say manslaughter. People who's been hot on a murder after 10 hours of yelling at each other, 20 hours if we take the previous, no, 30 hours if you take the previous jury into it, they would be willing to go down. And after 20 hours, just to reach an agreement, if you have a guilty ruling
Verdict.
in the room,
Yes.
you're just arguing. I'm betting most juries would land somewhere on manslaughter. Give her I think it's 20 to 30 years and be done with it, because you've been go. That's why I don't get. I don't. Even though when we heard the note, I thought we were in this territory, but I just don't think we're out of the. I don't think that there's a clear line so far about where we're going. I
Mm.
don't. No, I just don't think so. So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah. It is one of those where you just want to go there and sit down with the jury and explain, this, I don't care which way you vote, just put a damn vote.
Yeah.
Right, Mimsy. Just put
Yeah, but again, you rationally, if you put it up there out there, you would have been able to make a compromise if you had a clear guilty verdict so far.
right. And they may
Reaching
not
the
have that.
no, and that's why I'm saying then they're not gonna get it. You don't sway either way, a guilty or not guilty, after so many hours.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it just seems like yeah. Yeah, that and the other way around, not that I think she is guilty, but still, if you're stuck with 11-1 either way after so many hours,
Well, and
I
you would
don't
think, because they're supposed to be presumed innocent,
yeah,
that if there's a holdout for guilty, that they could come back with a not guilty verdict and move on, because it's just, for one person, that's the holdout, and everybody else is saying, yeah, it's reasonable doubt. We got to have reasonable doubt, and we're done. If that
yeah,
was how the majority was looking at it.
and yeah, and that's oh, Tukli. But yeah, again, I just can't see, and again, if let's say this conversation happened last night, guys, we've been going at this for 2 full days. We started Tuesday morning and been here all Wednesday. We are stuck at 11-1, 10-2, 7-5. Dave, that's math. I know law school teaches you not to do that. We're not budging. Go home, get a good night of sleep. We do the final poll at 3:30. It shows the exact same result as the poll we did in the jury room at 12:30 and at 10:30. Nothing is moving. Go home, sleep on it. We'll start out with a poll tomorrow, take a turn around the table, and then we go to the judge.
Right. Well, and
Uh,
if you missed what happened, it was Thursday. There was a note sent to the
Friday.
judge.
Friday.
Well, no, it was Thursday. The note was sent to the
Friday.
judge, wasn't it? And
Friday,
he took
because he said
Friday
that
off.
no, He sent them home for the weekend and said, "We'll deal with this note on Monday."
Okay, so and that was early Friday, because
No,
they
end of day Friday.
end of day Friday. Okay, it's just been so many days I can't even keep track anymore. And sorry, so he sent them home over the weekend. They came back in on Monday, and called people into his chambers. From what I gather, the attorneys were all there asking questions of the jury. That went until around lunchtime, and then he was it was that day that he dismissed people. I'm just want to get my timeline right, because I'm pretty sure
Yeah,
on Monday
then he dismissed the people and sent them home. Yeah.
he dismissed 2 jurors and 1 alternate, said that it was for personal reasons, not to read into it. And then they selected two new jurors because they didn't have to select an alternate, but one of the alternates was selected in that. And then he said, we'll come back on Tuesday and we'll continue on.
No, we'll
So
start over.
yeah, we'll start over.
Yeah. And Tuesday morning there was the state wanted him to instruct them again about the sentencing parts of it, which the murder 1, the murder 2, the voluntary and involuntary manslaughter. But the defense didn't want him to talk about that, because then he should also instruct them about that it's the jury's duty to find if she's guilty or not guilty. But he didn't read any of those things into it. That's what made us believe that they might have been close to an agreement. But after that, we have heard no word from it. We haven't heard anything from the jury question-wise since Thursday at around noon, where they were asking for a map over the Western Massachusetts area and a demonstrative showing the 2 routes she described taking when she went out with her daughter. And that's You're asking what's the general feeling of the group. Our feeling is the longer you go, my feeling is the longer you goes, the more likely you are at a hung jury. You're getting further and further away from guilty, not guilty. You're getting closer to a hung jury again, even though in the third trial it took them 27 hours to reach a guilty verdict. So yeah, normally you say a quick return is a guilty.
And
But
so on the first one, was that ever shown? Was there any footage from that
the third trial,
trial? The
I haven't
first
seen
one
anything.
or the second one?
The first and the second, absolutely not.
The third one there
I,
was.
I was the first weekend, so the previous, not this, but the previous weekend. I was looking into it, and I found some footage from outside of her house, some old stuff from TV, but I haven't found any court stuff or presses regarding that trial. But you know how YouTube are; it shows you if you put in Cara Rintala trial, it just pops up the newest one. And I didn't do a massive deep dive, but I didn't find anything readily available about it.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, I was just curious if that was even out there, if so you could sort of
but
hear what was said in the first one. And
you can read about it.
right.
It was in the papers and stuff like that.
Yeah,
And
that's my problem with it, because are they telling you all of it? And I think I had this discussion with Jamie last night, where you're looking at, if you're just hearing the news, you would still think that Kyle Rittenhouse shot 3 black men and crossed state lines with a firearm. I mean, because
yeah, and
you never,
killed 4 black guys.
right, because you'd be listening to the news, then for whatever reason they're leaving things out and alluding to things that aren't true. And that's my only concern with reading the news on some of this.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't seen what the news report is on this trial at all. Like what any news media might be talking about with it, local news or anything like that.
No. And that's again, that's the problem. And what did you hear back in the day? And do they know that this was overturned in the Supreme Court? And yeah, that's the big thing. What do people know? What do they? And of course, no one ever um, look into anything they shouldn't have been looking into. What is this? There's something here from.
Even back in the day when you had cable TV and watched it live. Yeah, that is always possible that it was played live. Eris, because
We can
retraction.
try. I hope Western Massachusetts news don't hit me too hard for this. Well, I get hit all the time now.
So this is the old one.
This is from when it was overturned.
And one that leaves the Northwestern District Attorney with a difficult decision ahead.
Things that we've thought were reliable for decades, if they cannot be proven and generally accepted in a scientific setting, then they have no business coming in court.
Jared Olenoff, a criminal defense attorney, calling into question the expert testimony used in the trial of Cara Rintala. Rintala was charged with first-degree murder following the third trial after the first two ended with hung juries. On Monday, the verdict was nullified by the Massachusetts Supreme Judicial Court, something Olenoff tells Western Mass News is a rarity in the court of law.
It's actually extremely rare for a first-degree murder case to be overturned.
Rintala was accused of strangling and beating her wife, Cochran, and strangely enough, what intentional or accidental?
But again, if that's what is out there, and you're going home and watching that, and seeing, oh, it was overturned on technical evidence. It wasn't. She wasn't found not guilty. She was found guilty, but then some technical mumbo jumbo stuff. And that's what pops up when I go into. And Google just as well as YouTube, it doesn't show you anything.
No. It'll just show you the most recent kind of thing.
And there's a document cloud. Can I see anything? No, it's just what. How many pages is this? It's probably a long one.
And a lot of people don't know too much about it, and that's why I think that it's been much better having the people like cover this kind of thing, because if you get the information out there, it's easier for somebody to come back and review it and see that, oh, this is important stuff that was overlooked elsewhere. It's just prosecution. Yeah, I don't know how you. It's just a vindictive prosecution. When the Supreme Court overturns your stuff, your case is weak sauce.
Yeah,
I mean, people have been convicted with less. I mean, look at Zach Anderson. They don't even have a body.
No, they don't even have blood. I'm just looking at why it was overturned to see if there's a reason why they struck it down. This is just all the testimony they're going through. Where do we'll probably find the verdict on the last page. And time of death testimony. 4 of the first responders testified that they touched the victim's body in the basement once they arrived on the scene. One paramedic stated that the victim's arms were locked in an unnatural position, that she was very, very cold, ice cold. That's not what we heard him testify to in this case. The other testified that the wrist was cold and stiff. That's not what he said. He said the entire arm. The body was extremely stiff and very cold. Very, very stiff. And then the last officer said her whole body moved as a unit. So
If as a
all of them
board.
changed their testimony to say she was cold and stiff and moved like a unit. So, and can we see the paint experts to see what he's saying? 4 experts testified regarding the rigor assessment. Each to the effect that no time of death estimate is precise. An appropriate time for death assessment takes into account all available informations, and the quantity and quality of the information available affects the range of the estimate. So they had 4 people in that talking about that you can't use rigor. And it was not an unreliable. Oh, here we have the testimony about the paint. We can share this. Can you see this? Probably not.
There we go. That's better.
The defendant claims that Giuliani's testimony should not have been admitted because he was not qualified to testify as an expert and because his testimony lacked sufficient reliability to reach the jury. The defendant also contends that the trial's counsel's assistant, as it's related to excluding or countering Giuliani's testimony, was ineffective. As we detail infra, we agreed that Giuliani lacked the necessary expertise to perform the paint analysis here, and that his testimony lacked the requisite reliability and therefore should not have been admitted. Moreover, because Giuliani's testimony was significant and likely swayed the jury's verdict, we conclude that the error was prejudicial and we therefore vacate the judgment against the defendant. We thus need not resolve the defendant's ineffective assistance of counsel. Well, she wouldn't have.
So the defendant had an ineffective assistance of counsel claim.
Yeah.
Maybe that's ooh.
Well, again, that's she's never going to get that one because the lawyer showed up and didn't sleep through the case. So she had an effective counsel.
Yeah, and that makes sense that if a counsel doesn't make an objection and let something through, I can see where you might want to have that ineffective counsel in there.
Yeah, just to make clear that I thought they should have objected to this or something.
Right. They should have objected to this because it was improper in the first place, but it's sort of like an offsides whenever you have another penalty that's greater, you decline one of the penalties so you can take the larger penalty. And that's basically what they're doing there. So
and
gonna stream tonight around 6:00. Ooh, that'll be good.
Who's streaming?
MLS.
Around 6:00. Yeah. So I might be able to see a bit of it. Swimming earlier in the day, but just doesn't make sense with Baker going and work. Oh. Do I scare you out of the water like Brucey does?
You're like a little shark.
Yeah. But the first officer to arrive testified that he observed the victim lying in what appeared to be a large pool of pink wet paint. No. And a couple different areas of large pools of blood, yeah. He also stated there was no coagulation of the paint whatsoever and that he was leaving footprints everywhere as he moved around. We saw that part where they moved the body over and there was coagulation on the paint in that thing. And the next officer described it as white paint, fresh, still wet. He explained that the paint didn't appear dry to him and that he did not see the film on top of the paint. The 2 paramedics, blah, blah, blah. Do we get into testify? No. Where's the experts? Oh, in April 2014, after the second trial, the Commonwealth sought to determine whether the drying time of the paint could be extrapolated from the change of color of the paint at the basement floor. The Commonwealth contacted the company that manufactured the paint and were connected to Giuliani, a quality engineer at PPG Industries. He's a bachelor, I don't care. He's developing and forming paint, blah, blah, blah. Although he did not design the paint at issue in this case, EC track paint, if anyone needs to paint their roof, he was very, very familiar with another paint that was modified to make the EC track. He testified that the EC track paint is designed for ceilings and has a special dye that makes the paint change from pink when it is applied to white once it has dried. That doesn't make sense. Special dye that makes the paint change from pink when it is applied to white.
Yes, I have some of this paint.
Yeah, but
Okay,
it shouldn't be. It's because there's a comma missing.
Right.
It isn't applied to white. It changes from pink to white, but from pink, comma, when it's applied, comma, to white.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lawyers. The paint is designed to be applied at a thickness of 3 mils, and that thickness, the paint will
No.
dry to the touch and turn white within approximately 30 minutes under ideal drying conditions. He decided to
paint-
perform a
Paint can't be done at 3 mils. I have a 3 mil wetsuit. Okay, that's really damn thick.
I don't know what, but that's what it says.
Okay.
Yeah. He did a series of experiments. He documented each with a series of photographs as well as his personal notes and observations. That's more than in the Alex Murdoch case. Several overall conclusions at the end of the experiment. A timeline to establish based on ping. To do this, he poured blah blah. Yeah. Let's just get why it was thrown out. Because I don't want to read why an egghead did something. Yeah, and again, nowhere.
Yeah, he's just talking about how he was throwing a cell phone across the room the night before.
Yeah. First, he concluded that dulling of the paint surface happened around 30 minutes. Next, he concluded the edge of the paint starts to dry first. Wow. This causes a ridge of dry paint at the outer edge that starts to perform between 30 minutes and 60 minutes. A defined edge is prevalent at 90 minutes, as we saw under the body. Crackling starts to show. Why is it thrown out? Chemical composition, the manner of pace. Yeah, she's talking about the difference in conditions.
Mm-hmm.
He gave 4 opinions, 2 of which are relevant here. First, he opined the paint was intentionally poured rather than being knocked over, dropped, and otherwise spilled, relying on the crime scene photograph. Okay, because he could look at the flow and lack of fresh paint on the lid and stuff like that. He opined that the paint was poured within half an hour of first responders arriving at scene. He relied on his experiments, the observation made by first responders, and his review of the crime scene. In particular, he explained that he felt very strongly, and feeling in a courtroom is a great set of objective facts, that the paint was poured within 2 and 1.5 hours before the photographs were taken. That's another thing than the 30 minutes.
Well, and that makes it. Now think about that. If it was within 2 and 1/2 hours, okay, and we determined that there's a possibility that
that's no. We have to read this part. and the first photograph that the scene appears to have been taken at 9:18, so 2 hours before that one. And that's why he said he concluded that the paint was applied no more than 4 hours before the photographs were taken at or roughly 5 p.m. So yeah, that's a different
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
After reviewing his report, double linear, blah blah blah. I just want the conclusion, because this is just analysis. There must be a conclusion somewhere. Stupid lawyers. That's why I would never do law school. One, because it's boring, and two, because it takes 7 years, and three, because you have to write stuff like this.
Well, it says you did not do any research. Scroll back up just a little bit.
I like this footnote here. Because he conceived of and designed the experiments without any stated basis in existent science or literature, and because neither the Commonwealth nor the trial judge applied the Doppel-Lenigan factors, it would make little sense to attempt to apply them here. So yeah,
okay.
there's no way to test it. Oh, and this little bit. Giuliani's experiments also don't appear to have been performed consistently with basic scientific principles.
Yep.
Yeah. Primarily based their findings on repeatable experiments conducted under controlled conditions. Kind of like throwing a phone around in the office isn't repeatable.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, that's what I'm finding when this is the wrong one. I should do this. When I'm looking into the previous case, it's the rulings from the Supreme Court, and then everything is from 2022. Oh, this is when she's found guilty. Maybe there's something in there. Entertain chat while I'm reading this. Sorry, chat.
Okay.
My screen's up, entertaining you guys.
So Wilhelmer notes, as a scholar once said, you can paint the town red and paint his wife white. Although she was a she. Her wife was a wife. Was a wife. Yeah. Eris hums innocently in the corner. Oh. And oh, good to see you, Fast Group. I think I saw that you were there. I'm sorry if I didn't respond. And did, and Fast Group made a point that 3 mils is different than 3 millimeters. Okay, that makes sense. Good to know.
It might be something about the surface area, something. How much you apply, but I can't see anything from the courts. So what I have is just newspaper saying she was convicted, and yeah, we know that.
Right.
We don't have any jury deliberations or stuff like that. I can't find juries talking about it. But again, it seems like the Supreme Court believed that the paint drying was so significantly that it was thrown out.
A thin coat is designed to dry in a short amount of time. You can leave a lid off a bucket of paint all day and it will not dry. That is true. And if it's poured out or spilled out, it may not dry. It might take hours before it dries also. Depends on how thick it is.
Yeah. But again, what's taking you people so long? Because without that evidence to establish a timeline, you have the rigor which we all know isn't settled science. So what are you now hanging your hat on? You're hanging your hat on, she must have done it because she was at the house. Yeah, I'm sorry. I tried to keep it a clean chat, but I don't know. Those people, they find me. I'm normally a good guy.
I doubt his innocence was ever there.
Mine or
He's
his?
he's throwing out what do you call it? Facts not in evidence.
Yeah. But I still, maybe Chad can tell me, what do you think they're arguing about? Because I've said it so many times. I really can't see. The only thing you can hang your hat on is she's at the house and the body had been dead for some time.
Yeah.
But not a scratch on. And let's be real. Anne Marie was a stout woman, but she didn't have that much fat on her. She was a strong woman. She
Mhm.
was hefty built, and Cara isn't that big. So I don't get it.
I don't either.
Maybe Chad can help us
Yeah,
out figuring out what we are not seeing, because I can't, for the love of me, I can't do it. It's yeah, it's and again now they've been going for an hour today almost. Yeah, I just can't see it. I'm sorry, and I'm thinking too much about this, and what what in the world are the jury looking at that we don't see? That's a problem for me to figure out. Timeline, opportunity, and motive. Yeah, but again, if you're let's say not guilty, and they're saying, well, see the timeline. She leaves the house at 3, and the rigger places the death around 1 at most. Can't you understand that? And then you go back and say, well, even the state admitted in their closing that it could have been at 3 she died. But that still don't. Why isn't there a mark on her? Why did she do it? And they're talking about motive. They didn't present anything more recent than 3 months before the murder that that they had problems. The only thing we know is Anne Marie was an angry woman the night before, and Cara, in her text and in her voice messages, was excusing, like she was in the police calls as well. We heard her on the 911 call where she said, I don't want to come down there. I don't want to start anything. I'm afraid of Anne Marie's gonna rip the baby out of my arms. We heard her every time there was anything going on. It was Anne Marie who was the angry one. So, Brandon, yeah, you missed the beginning, but luckily for you and for I and for the rest of us, there'll be a lot of time sitting here. That means that someone who believes reasonable doubt would not be forced to say guilty, rather, or err on the safe side, especially after 4 trials. Yeah, that's yeah. That's again, if some of them, and I know none of them did, go home and look it up and saw this is the 4th time she's on trial, and they got struck down when they finally got a verdict, I would have a yeah. No, but you spice up the headlines in. It's just a way to catfish people to come in and watch it. I should have named it "Watching Lesbians in a Paint Fight." That I would have a way bigger stream then. If there's only a couple of holdouts for guilty, I would do anything I could to change their minds to convert them so there are no way state can prosecute her again. Yeah, but as I said earlier, let's just scenario. You have 10 people not guilty and 2 people guilty. You've been going at it for at least 14 hours after the new jury has been put together, and 18 and a half hours before that, if those two guilty aren't the new jurors put in. After arguing for so many hours, you don't change anyone's mind. And that's why I don't get, why don't you just go to the judge and say, we are stuck, we have been stuck, we were discussing all day yesterday, we are still stuck at 10-2 either way. We've been arguing again for an hour today, doing a new poll, we are stuck at 10-2, no one is budging. That's But again, I don't know the American jury system. But if I had been arguing for so long and nothing is moving, and that's why I think something must be moving. Maybe again, if they're discussing the different kinds of charges against involuntary, voluntary, murder one, murder two, I could understand why they're arguing, but I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't know anything. I can't bring that up, Brandon, but I agree. They are not allowed to know that because, as we were told Tuesday morning, that they had to disregard any talk about prior, because there was multiple witnesses have been talked about prior testimony. That wasn't evidence that there has been a prior testimony. They shouldn't view that as evidence of anything, only regard the answers they were given in court. And I know Americans are better people than Europeans, because you always listen to authorities and do exactly what you're told. After 3 weeks, no, Tuesday it was 3 weeks. We're up to, is it 16 days so far we've been spending on this trial? Someone might have looked and seen everything that's going on before this. And they know exactly what happened before. And that's my big concern. Why can it then still take so long? Mm. Yeah, and that's not legal, and that's why they threw out 2 jurors, I believe. But if those 2 jurors have been sitting in the jury room and said, "Well, she was convicted once. Why can't you see she is guilty? What are you talking about? Yeah, she got life in prison before, so the judge wouldn't give her life in prison if she wasn't guilty. She was found guilty before. Why don't you agree with us?" If they've been sitting saying that in the jury room, the entire jury should be thrown out. And that's why I don't get that you can throw out 2 jurors who have been in the room with the other jurors for 18 hours. I know that he said for personal reasons, but that's quite as unbelievable as me becoming a leading point guard on the Chicago Bulls. Yeah, Cara was placating AF. Danny T, I gave up guessing around the 8-hour mark, because after 2 days, I still can't see what they're yelling about in there. Yeah, let's make every day a good day. Smile to someone, let an old lady ahead of you in the queue in the supermarket, and go out there with a smile on your face. Sing a little song. You talked about painting the town red. We had a lady singing a song about that in the European music contest. Yeah, back when it was good, before I'd get all limp-wristed. So yeah. Yeah, of course, sometimes actually, a lot of times, it's the timid one who does the slaying, because the aggressive one believes they have the full control, and then the victim just snaps and does it.
Flips the script.
You've seen that many a time. Iris acts like she's good. Iris is very good. She helps me put my links out on Twitter when I forget it. It could be a thing. I'm not pulling that one up. I'm not sure this will sell as good as paint wrestling.
Yeah. I mean,
Well, Lefty doesn't like it, but Lefty, he's kind of like another one we know. So
Yeah, I don't like women.
oh, that's awesome.
well, I said either way. I think you can put it either way you want. I'm just very sure no one is still. I'm not sure after so many hours, and it could be 5 and 7. It can be 7 and 5. It could be 6 and 6. It can't be 6 and 9.
Cosney had a guest who does jury interviews, private investigation. The media hired to get the truth about what went down with those jurors. Yeah, yeah. I saw her. She was pretty good on Cosney's stream. Her husband was convicted and imprisoned for a life sentence on a crime he didn't commit. And
Oh yeah, I know.
he told her, what she needed to do, and got the ball moving, got him an appeal, and that's a hard battle to win.
Yeah, of course you did. You're very much into ladies wrestling in paint.
Yeah, I don't like women.
Lefty. Yeah.
Came back for that.
Well,
Yeah. Well, but I still, hey Luna, I still can't get why. Your mind get to wonder when you're sitting here a lot, and I'm still just running over the case again and again and again. And yeah, if you really hung up on the rigor shows the exact time of that, you could say, well, that places her firmly in the house when the murder happened. But then I would counter with, where are the marks on the body? She had to surprise her wife.
Well, and they showed that she couldn't have been in full rigor at the time that she arrived, because of the it's a different part of mortis. It's
the pooling of the blood.
Yeah, the pooling of the blood in the body was on both sides of the body.
Yeah, and but they skipped really easy over that. I would have emphasized that more. I would have an expert testifying to that, so it was really clear. I would have one who talked only about muscle stiffness, and one talking about the pooling on both sides of the body. But again, we're talking about a very stout woman who she had. Her fat layer was not very thick, because they were talking about if she was a fat woman, and which should do something to the timeline of the rigor. And she said when we measured her layer of fat, it was only, I can't remember if it was 1 or 3 mils or whatever it was, but how yeah, you can surprise someone, yeet them down the stairs, but if she has defensive wounds on her neck and the other one is still able to keep her down and do her away without getting anything on her, scratches, anything, and
bruises, anything.
Yeah, and she has to dispose of the blood so close after she cleans that little part of the garage or the basement, and leave all the other blood down there. And with the blood prints on the wall, it was her blood, but we're not sure whose handprints it was. But you said you thought they looked big, and a hand on the wall that high. Could it be when she went flying down the stairs that she left the handprint? I would really have liked to seen a person standing next to it to kind of get uh, an indication of how it would be in compared to your body um because someone who uses those stairs regularly would use the handrails. They were steep stairs.
Well, and mm, it's hard for me to imagine that she went through all of this to bloody her up, walk up the stairs to get blood, but failed to wipe that off the wall.
Yeah, we are
But
getting closer. Thank you everyone for subscribing and liking and all the things we have
oh,
to say on YouTube.
absolutely. Thank you, Lesko. Brandon Lesko. Yes.
Oh, let's go, Brandon.
Let's go, Brandon. It's yeah, it's hard for me to understand that. Okay, she did all this wiping of blood all over the floor, but leaving a big batch of it, wiping it off the shelves, and then not wipe it off the wall. I mean, you
No,
could have got a magic eraser and got that off the wall. You know, you could have used a towel while it's still wet and gotten it off the wall. Oh,
it's very appreciated you whore yourself out on our behalf. Does it?
thank you.
Can we call ourselves a pimp stream then?
Pimp stream.
But Brandon is a really cool guy. He really helps spread the word of channels, and I owe him a lot. He brought a lot of eyes over to my channel.
Same.
He's a nice, even though he likes to make a little bit of a ruckus. He's a really good guy. The hand was you had the stairs, and one of them was up here pointing towards the door.
And it
And
really
the other,
wasn't a handprint. It was more like
it's a smear.
it
It
looked
was a
like
smear.
knuckles maybe like got across the thing of it. It was just really weird looking. And then there
Yeah,
was another
and
one
you had
under the hand railing or something like that, or a
yeah,
droplet under the hand railing.
yeah. Both of them were over the hand railing, and that's what I'm thinking. If you live in that house, it was a steep stair. You use the hand railing when you go up and down the stairs.
Mhm.
You probably go down the stairs backwards because it was real steep. And this handprint, just because I was thinking about it, it could have been when she's knocked down the stairs if she's already bleeding. And I won't recommend anyone looking up the the photos from, I believe, the last day of testimony from the state side, but the injuries to her scalp, because we only saw the body before I had our before I had it covered up so you didn't see it. And when you saw the body, she was just laying there on the floor with it was hard to see. But when you saw the wounds when they showed them, it was quite long uh, tears in the skin. So there would have been a lot of
Maybe
blood.
she slid down the stairs and caught every step on the way down. Maybe
It looked more like it was running this way. So and that's why I think and it was
the
in the
door
back of
did
the
it.
and in the back of the head. So it didn't look like you were just clobbering in the back of the head with a blunt object.
Wow, I'm
So yeah,
that would be weird. I'm just looking at this and thinking. So if she had something that caught her in the face, like a large door, wouldn't it have left a mark on the other side of the door? Did they even check that?
we can ask the door, but it pled the fifth. If someone else did it, how come there was no paint transfer to the stairs when the killer left? Because
The paint
we
was
don't know when
paint.
we don't know when the paint was put on the floor.
Right. There's always a
Cara's
possibility because Kara did say that whenever she came down the stairs, she can't remember if the paint was already spilled or she spilled it or kicked it. She just knows at some point there was paint all over the
yeah
damn place.
yeah. She says when she goes down the basement, she trips on something. It could have been the paint. It could have been a child's toy. We don't know anything, and
Could have
that's
been
why
a shoe.
the paint expert was thrown out because he can't determine either if she just spilled the paint or if she spilled the paint 10 hours before. And that's again when I read that thing with the pictures were taken 2 to 3 hours after the EMTs arrived. That changes my mind about the pink stuff in the paint that is to indicate how far you're painted on the roof, the ceiling, because that's 2 or 3 hours more for it to dissolve and become white. It was something else if it has just been spilled, and you can say, well, then it should be highly pink. But the picture wasn't taken until 2 hours later, at
Right.
least. And if you paint something, it's repaintable in 4 hours normally. And they said the pink stuff would go away within a couple of hours. So yeah, it doesn't indicate to me that it was poured when she was hurt. It could
Well,
have
and
been
that's,
any time. It
yeah,
in theory, if Kara didn't have it on her clothes, the EMT could have knocked that paint over. You wouldn't know.
right.
Yeah, I'd like to swell Brandon's head.
Oh, thanks, Eris. Like and subscribe.
Yeah, but again, I don't recommend it. But I know some of you people, and I'm not even sure if the photos are in Dave's Discord, but they weren't nice, and it was big gashes in the skin. It wasn't penetrating through the skull or anything, but a head wound bleeds like a devil
Yeah, yeah.
because there's a lot of blood in your head. It's kind of
Yes,
important to have blood up there.
I've split my skull, not my skull, but my scalp open a few times, and it does bleed a lot.
Oh yeah, this is the thing I was stuck on last week.
Mm.
You have a 3-year-old in the house, 2.5, 3-year-old. You unalive your spouse violently, throw her down the stairs, clap her across the head. She has defensive wounds. She must have said, "Oh, that hurt. Please don't do that." And the 2.5 to 3-year-old doesn't do anything.
And I still never heard. I mean, they touched on it and said that there were strangulation marks around her neck, and I would have loved to not. Well, I have to take that back. It would have been interesting to see if those were actual handprints or it was something else.
They said smear stains or smear transfers. So it could be a shoulder rubbing uh, up against it that just left hand-like marks on, and we don't know. It was a smear transfer. What it's described as
I'm
by
talking
the
about on her neck because they're saying that she was strangulated.
yeah.
But I would like to see, was it because there's a difference between the size of my hands and the size of my wife's
No
hands.
marks on the outside other than the defensive marks. You could see it on the deep tissue that she's been strangulated. Her thyroid, the bone you
Bone.
normally break, wasn't broken either. So it implies it wasn't a violent, quick strangulation. It was cutting off the blood to the brain strangulation, 3 to 4 minutes. But again, wasn't any pressure marks. There wasn't a lot of pressure mark. There was some reddening of the tissue, but you could see it in the muscles underneath the skin that she's been strangulated. So again, normally, if someone with a lot of force do it, normally you break that bone. But again, it could have been it doesn't indicate if it's a boy or a girl who did it. It's again, you can't really, when there's no marks, you can't really rely on the marks that's not there. And that's
Yeah.
the other thing, because do we know she was strangled with the hands, or could you have slipped the rope around, or whatever could have been done? So,
Yeah.
well, they showed us a bed where the child hadn't slept in as an indication that Cara lied about her trying to make the kid take a nap. That's why we were shown a made bed with a diaper at the end of it, to indicate that she lied about trying to have the kid go to have a nap. Yeah, again, and she didn't die instantly. She died within 3 to 4 minutes fighting off whoever tried to strangle her.
Well,
She might have said, "Hello."
and I'm trying to think because I mean, not all the time were you putting a kid into their own bed to take a nap. I mean, I remember growing up whenever I was, little, whenever I was told I needed to take a nap, I would just I'd be put on a spot on the floor somewhere, and that's or on the couch or whatever, and told nap kind of
Mm.
thing. So it wasn't I can't remember ever going to bed to take a nap. I mean, that just wasn't. I guess maybe different family, different way of raising.
Yeah, and different kids. Every kid is different. Then the child wakes up and she takes the trip in the car to calm the child down. Yeah, after she cleans herself completely of any blood stains, allegedly cleans parts of the basement, and the child don't ask, "Where's mommy?" at any time. Again, it could be an explanation, but if you place her in the house doing that, she would have been covered in blood when that happened, because there was a lot of blood in that basement. There was blood spraying all over. There was the carpet filled with blood. She must have come out of that basement, and let's take the paint out of it. It's added later. She will have blood all over her, and a 3-year-old, 2.5-year-old thinking, "Why do mommy look like that? Mommy need to take a shower." No blood was found anywhere in the bathroom. Mommy needs to get new clothes on. We have no indication that clothes are missing. So again, that's reasonable doubt. That adds to the reasonable doubt that there's nothing to do to show up. Yeah, you just go. I'll keep the people entertained. I'll figure something out. Strangling is very hard, and it takes 3 to 4 minutes if you cut off the air, the big arteries to the brain, and she did have bleeding in the eyes, so it was deprivation
Definitely
of oxygen.
strangulation.
Yeah, so yeah, the bruising couldn't have been done because it was what do we call it? Sub tissue,
Sub sub subdermal. Sorry.
subdermal. Yeah, you could see it in the muscles that force had been applied to, and she died from air being cut off from the brain. So you couldn't.
Well, isn't that how you're supposed to stop a head wound? Is like cut off any blood going to the wounds
Yeah,
to the head. I
yeah,
mean, right?
yeah. That's why
Oh,
you pinch your nose if you have a nosebleed.
yeah. And you can't really pinch someone around their head to stop the bleeding. So you just go for the next lowest spot.
Yeah.
This is why I'm not a
Exact.
doctor.
Yeah. No medical advice.
Yeah.
That's her explanation. The kid wouldn't sleep, wouldn't be quiet. That's why they had to take a car ride to make Anne Marie able to take a nap, because she had been on night duty and had to go back to night duty. And we know that from either 9 or 10 in the morning till what would have been 12 or 1 o'clock, um, Anne Marie had to be awake to take care of the baby, because Cara had answered a call from the fire station and was on in a 3-hour window where she had to pick up everything if she was called in because they had those rules that if you pick up the phone, you're on the hook for 3 hours. And she did that around 9 or 10 in the morning. So Anne-Marie couldn't go to bed even though Cara was at home. So again, yeah.
I'll be right back. I do have to go
Yeah,
into
go
the post
run
service,
around.
but I will be back.
Well, her business also was on a lot of drugs, and the guy she did it to, he was a little skinny dude. No, did you have Jamie on yesterday? Did you break her? Again, yeah. If the amount of blood, which indicated a big struggle as part of the state's evidence, which she only cleaned up in a few spots, and we saw there was blood spray underneath the laundry basket, there must have been blood on Cara, and she could have cleaned up, but they only had one bathroom because they said when we come home from work, we go down in the basement, get undressed, go up in the bathroom. So there's only one shower, and so she must have gone to that shower to clean herself of the blood. And the only blood that was found on her were on her hands while she's sitting with the dead body on her. And in the interrogation room, she finds out she has some paint and blood on her ankle, again, which is under the dead body. So that's not enough to me to say, well, it must have gotten on her when she unalived her, because she was sitting with the dead body. It's a really, really good way to hide evidence, is to just sit next to the dead person. Not legal advice or murder advice. What is there any brain wound? No, there was no puncture to the scalp, to the cranium, only to the scalp. Yeah, I know he was kind of a sick freak, but that takes restraint to only choke him out. David just finishing Andrew things, and I think work things. Yeah, it's the talk to text MLS law MLS network specialty. Get misunderstood on law to on text to speak. Oh my god. Yeah, they were just applying a tourniquet to her neck because she had bleeding head wounds. Yeah, Texas say this with a glee for murder, but again, if you're murdering bastard, you're still showing a lot of restraint if you can keep them around. Just make them go unconscious, come back, go unconscious, come back. Yeah. I didn't push Jamie down some stairs. Jamie was out hanging out with other guys yesterday. I'm hurt, but I will forgive her. And she claims she has some work stuff, but she was out playing with the boys when I went to bed. So yeah. But if you had the opportunity to hang out with Jamie, you would try to lure her away from me as well, because she is the bestest of the restest. She is the one and only queen of the YouTubes. Winosaur, I that's a bad thing, because if it was Friday 4:30, you were about to be able to go hang out and get something to drink. I got tomorrow off, so it's basically, yeah, that's a good thing. And I wished it was Friday, and I wished I was sure this will be the last day, because I'm kind of in a need of dipping into that six pack I have in the bottom of my fridge. So yeah. Well, Jamie, I know her favorite restaurants are Five Guys, so she can handle it. The judge, he looked angry this morning, and there was a feedback on the court mic, and that kind of ticked him off a bit, and they started laughing in court, and he said, I'm beginning to sound like a broken record or something, and then the defense tried to make fun of it, and he didn't seem like he thought it was very funny. That could be another whole day of this. Dinosaur, please. Don't say words like that, because even though I'm a big guy, I cry a little bit on the inside when I'm thinking about hanging out here again tomorrow. Not that I don't love all of you. I love being here. I love all of you chatters and those of you who don't chat. But I really want this case to end, because I have a lot of stuff I would rather do than cover this trial verdict watch. If it had been a trial, I could live with that, because then I'd learn something new and hear something. But now I'm just sitting here. Yeah, we're gonna arm wrestle, and well, maybe we'll just make a compromise and we split Jamie. Yeah, sharing the pain. Hey, Chrissy, I missed most of yesterday. Any questions? No. The only two questions were Thursday, when they asked the questions: could we get a map over Western Massachusetts, and can we have the demonstrative showing which route she took according to her testimony at around midnight the day of the murder and in the morning the day after the murder? So nothing, and that's why, if we at least had some questions, we could kind of gauge what way are they leaning. We know absolutely nothing, and I'm just sitting here and trying to figure out what people could have seen that makes them want to go for so long, and I'm having a hard time doing that. 2:34 p.m. That will be 8:34, so in 4 hours. I was really hoping that they would be back before noon saying we can't agree on this. Yeah, monologuing for. I talked to a guy in the gym today, and he was talking about, oh, what do you do when you're sitting there verdict watching? I said, I talk for 7.5 hours when people are not playing words on screen. You can do that? I said, apparently I can. But yesterday we had that fun discussion about the female who touched a 13-year-old boy and just got a suspended sentence. So we had that, and today we will be going into a bit of the Ruby Franke thing, because there's a few articles, if people know about the Ruby Franke things. Why should she be moving her desk around? Not everyone is making themselves a treehouse. But yeah, while we're just sitting here doing absolutely nothing, and I'm all by myself, don't wanna be all by myself. Um, I thought we could look into a bit of this. I don't know if people know the Ruby Frankie case, the one 8-passenger, it's also called. Because we have been covering that on Stab Your Days, where we have talked a bit about them being arrested and putting in. Yeah, they are in prison while the two of the kids were at the house where the boy escaped from, and a lot of people have been asking, but weren't there supposed to be 4 kids at the house? And the police didn't find any of them, and then there was this article yesterday about what had happened to some of the kids, because the two, as they say, the two were two were found at the house, malnourished and physically abused, and that's what she is on trial for. I believe it's 6 or 8 charges of child abuse. But when the police arrived at the house, they checked all the doors and windows, and they couldn't locate the two kids that was unaccounted for, and they got a search warrant. I read it on, I think it was Labor Day. I did an update on it, and they didn't find anyone, so they kicked the front door down, and the two kids, according to the police, then reached out to the oldest, Frankie's sister. That's the one who went on, I believe, Instagram or TikTok and wrote "finally" when the police arrested her mom. Um, and they found out that one of the children left the local place of employment by telling her supervisor that she needed to leave for a family emergency. Um, and this kid was picked up by Pam Butcher. And then they talked to went to American Fork and talked to Butcher. Um, and they talked about her and questioned her, and that she explained that around noon that day she received a call from Ruby Frankie, who told her that she had a family emergency and asked if she could pick up X and Y. So the two kids were at her house. According to Butcher, Ruby asked her if the two children could go to her house with her for a while. Butcher told officers the request was not odd since she had X and Y over to her residence before to do housework and other chores for her. That's kind of weird. The two girls were informed by a DCFS worker that they were to stay with their older sister Sherry or be placed in foster family. Initially, the two didn't want to leave Butcher's house, but were placed with their older sister. And they had reached out to try and get a comment from her. So that's for the people who was asking about what happened to the other kids, because only two was found at the house. The little boy who escaped and ran to the neighbor. I did no, that was on Labor Day. I had the 911 call where you can hear the neighbor crying because he's watching this little kid with duct tape and wounds on his ankles after being constrained with that, and that wasn't pleasant. So yeah. Uh, Yeah, no, he's not 3 anymore. She claimed he picked that up when he was 3. He's 11 or 13 now, and that's the boy who escaped the house. She claimed he picked up a addiction to corn when he was younger. So yeah. Oh, she's in the same jail as Jodie Arias. Sal would be happy. And and when you maybe it's just me. When I hear about this thing and with them going over to another woman and doing chores for her and stuff like, I just get such a cult vibe from this. We looked at the people talking about the extensions or whatever expectation, whatever the firm they had, what they were doing, and it just seems like some kind of weird cult they had running around. And most of it seemed like let's kick that out of the house and empower the women. So yeah, that's going to be a crazy case if it goes to court as well, because there's 4 kids involved, and the oldest of the kid, when her mom is arrested, is saying finally the dad hadn't been at the house, I believe, for like 18 months or something like that. They had all those videos on the 8 passenger YouTube thing where she talked about how she punished her kid. Her 6-year-old, if she didn't bring lunch to school, she wasn't allowed to get lunch. Her How old was the son? I think he was 14 or 16 when it happened, because he made a prank on his little brother. He was forced to sleep on a beanbag for 8 months because she said to his brother, "Oh, we're going to Disneyland," and the kid got really happy about it. I'm thinking if you punish a kid for 8 months for doing that, and we watched that video where she's just she and her husband are I need someone to speak English, making fun of her kid because he has a girl he's texting, and oh, you have a girlfriend, and and she seemed very many uh she switches in a second. we saw another video where the two boys were playing, and she said, "Ah, it's so fun, so fun." And then in the second, she just switched and said, "Stop doing that, or you get some kind of punishment." And it's just, how can a kid act in an environment like that? Yeah, dental assistants are hero. Every woman who make a young boy's dream come true are heroes. Well, every woman who makes a young boy consider taking away his own life isn't a hero. So I don't like that one. Iris, you can step out on me every time. I know you're coming back. Um, but yeah, that 8 passenger thing it's just weird. And as I said, I feel kind of like it seems like a cult where, especially that Ruby Frankie is a weird woman, but the other one, oh, what's her name? I can't even remember it. She seems like a cult leader, and her life story is also very, very weird because her I don't even think she had kids, but she was a family expert, and it's always those who preach the most you have to watch out for. But yeah, that's a weird one. That's yeah, but that happens sometimes that we get these weird cases. But I hope it will be televised if it's going on, because I would really like to understand that woman. Back to this case. If the verdict is innocent, do we think there will be advertising for a particular paint brand or a reoccurrence in-home use of luminol for your cleaning needs? Well, I have started spraying luminol all over my house to see if I clean it well enough. It's just it's sloppy not to do it. I'm not sure with the paint because the expert was thrown out, so Easy Paint or whatever the name was will probably not get a boost in numbers, but I'm pretty sure luminol will be the new talk of the town. Maybe your wife telling your man, "Oh, could you please clean the bathroom?" And he said, "Yeah, I done it, honey. You go in there, spray with luminol. You can see there's no traces of cleaning agents." And he said, "Did you just use the shower head and spray it all over the walls and let it dry?" "Oh yeah, I did, honey. Yeah, because I see no traces of wiping and smearing on the walls. So you didn't do a good enough job." Ladies, you should do that to your husband. Ah, thank you, Iris. Yeah, please subscribe on all the platforms and all the things. But yeah, but I'm still baffled by why we are still sitting here for so long. And I know I keep going back to it, but this case is just weird for me. How you can argue for so long. I understand there was no one else at the house. We don't have any evidence that Mark or Carla was at the house. And some people will say, yeah, well, the defense could just have put them on the stand and said they were at the house. Um, so she must have done it. But all 12 of them, I'm not sure. And that 2.5, 3-year-old kid in the house just changes the story for me, because would she keep quiet? Would she and she's like what, 14, 16 years old now? Wouldn't she have talked if she knew something? But again, we saw in the Zachariah Anderson case that you can maybe help kids remember stuff or misremember stuff. So yeah, but that 3-year-old making no noise, making no fuss, the bloody clothes disappearing without a trace, and she's throwing away 3 completely clean rags as indicative of what? There's so many things I really don't understand. But again, if you're sitting in a room arguing about that, it could be the thing that really annoys you and said, "Well, I think, why did she throw out those rags?" Yeah. so you don't have to work on your deck. Yeah, never use a black light in a hotel room. Never ever think about who slept in the bed the last time and how well they cleaned that room. Just enjoy your sleep. Yeah, don't do that. Yeah, the kid could be afraid to lose the only mother she had, but remember she did spend 4 or 5 years in prison after her third trial, where the kid, I believe, lived with the grandparents. So she has been away. She could have come forward after that saying, "Well, now mom's locked up. I'm not afraid of her anymore. I can tell my story." Because she was convicted in the third trial, put away for 4 or 5 years in prison before I think she's out on a $50,000 bond right now. Um, so there was a time where the kid could have spoken out, and she wouldn't lose her any more than life in prison because I don't believe the Massachusetts has a death penalty, and she was convicted of murder in the first degree, so you can't convict her of it again. So there was a safe zone for her to talk about what she saw at the house for 4 years when her mom was in prison. You can order luminol on the Amazon and stuff like that. Yeah. How frustrated would I be if I would probably be the single holdout. Uh, but again, I only do small. We're only one judge and two juries, so two jurors, so we don't get those. The big problem is when you have these big gatherings of people. It's easier to talk three people into one mind, and we don't have to argue about having a holdout because we can do split decisions. Split decision will there's no problem in going in there and say, well, you're not guilty by a split decision of 2-1. Then then the state might think, well, we're gonna appeal this one because if you're split, some of us saw something that the other ones didn't see. So maybe if they gave it another go around, they could uh, they could appeal the case on that, hoping that the next jury will see it another way. So we don't deal with people being split. So and that's a yeah, that's a good thing that we can have those split decisions. But again, in a murder case, I kind of like it to be unanimous that all 12 of them have to say yes if you're putting someone away from life. I'm not. Again, I can't. I don't know anything about American law, but I don't like the Florida changing the stuff to it don't have to be a unanimous to give an unaliving sentence to someone because uh, it's such it's such a tough punishment that you should be 100% sure that you got it right. Uh, we don't have the unaliving punishment. We haven't had that since I believe it was removed again in '53 or something like that because we reinstated it after the Second World War. But before that, we hadn't had it in a long time again. So it's not in our culture to do stuff like that, and we have very very lenient punishments if you look at the American system. But still, if you take away the rest of someone's life, either by putting them behind bars or putting them in a chair, I uh, I would like all of the ones who are sitting in the room to be on the same side. I think it's a politician who wanted to become more popular with the tough on crime stuff, who said stuff like that. Maybe because he was going into an election and wanted to seem tough because there has been a lot of kerfuffle in the U.S. the last couple of years. But I don't like the split decision on a death penalty. But we can do it in Denmark, so that's not a problem. Mm, yeah, but what if the door did it and they plead the fifth? swap up. That's a big problem. Yeah, it could be the heart of the heart of a holdout jury. Yeah. No, but I still don't like it. But I know they changed it for it. Yeah, I know they have to be guilty, but I still don't like the part that if all 12 are in favor of guilty, 10 of them could just say, "Well, we are gonna unalive him," and 2 of them said, "Well, no," because if you know that you feel, well, he's guilty, but he's not. We don't think he's gonna fry, but are we enough to hold him out of the chair? I'd better vote not guilty. That's my problem with that. So, yeah, as Forrest Gump said, and that's all I have to say about that. No, I can't do. Denmark doesn't matter. They only murder. They sometimes. I'm wondering, is it text to speak? Are you really redneck? Because you sound kind of like Bradley Yon sometimes on chat. It's and we don't only murder each other. Some of us murder ourselves. Oh, we had an explosion just like Sweden yesterday. Um, for you, those of you who don't know, Sweden are really getting into the kerfuffle, so they're blowing each other up right now. And we had one yesterday too, so it's coming to Denmark too. Don't say we don't have fun. You don't like the 8 to 4 requirement. I would expect at least 10 to be required. I think the Supreme Court will strike the 8 to 10. Yeah, and I don't like the split decision on the capital punishment because, again, if 12 of them can find him guilty, 12 of them should be able to say he's so guilty he should cry. I just think and in theory, I think the death penalty has its uses, but again, as a lot of people of you say in chat, I really want the state to really prove that someone is guilty before I think it's a good idea the state could put someone in the chair. Because, and again, not to get political, US have had some convictions over the last 2 years where someone might say it was a bit overreach from the state, and if you just have the right judges, you can put someone in prison for something other people would never see the inside of a prison for. And I don't like when the state have this kind of power. Not in Denmark. The state can do whatever it is. I love the Danish state. I live in a socialist paradise, and I'm happy. But all other states, I don't like they have this amount of power. Well, I don't know. I don't know what he's trying to say, but we don't only. No, I have covered cases where we do it in Denmark as well. We can be a little stabby. We don't shoot as many people as Americans, but we shoot some too. Writing all citizens are concerned about government overreach. Why would we be happy with loosening the requirements on the state? Yeah, and that's why I don't. We have the same thing in Denmark. All of a sudden, all the politician goes into I'm going to be hyper hard on crime mode, and everyone should go to prison forever, and no one should ever see the light of day. And I'm not sure. I really like politicians who try to win an election, talk about or making laws that make them seem tough, because a lot of time innocent, not innocent, but maybe people who shouldn't be punished as hard is gonna get hit with that stick. Um, we have a lot of cases in Denmark with people being deported because of they don't live up to the rules, and we always get these sob stories in the media because it's always someone who works as a nurse or works in childcare or something like that who have done all the Danish courses and stuff like that, and it's really bad. And all the politicians go on and say we must change the rules because it's too bad. And then 2 months later, there's some guy who raped 5 ladies, and he can't be deported because the rules we just changed keeps him in Denmark, and we have to change the rules so we can throw him out. And then 5 months later, this nurse is going to be deported. We have to change the rules. And that's why politicians are really, I don't like politicians. And no matter what side they're from, they should just stay away from it. It is a protection against those that lie doing what they're about being open to the capital punishment. It happens frequently. Yeah, I can see that. I can totally see that that people are lying about it, and when push comes to shove, they said, "Nope, I could never. My moral forbid me to do it." Yeah, talking about a movement. If you can, please go and donate to Zachariah Anderson's fund, and if you can't, just go and follow Solomon on X. There's a lot of people out there spreading the good word about the Zachariah Anderson Fund. You don't like the idea of giving the state the power to kill someone if there is a particular egregious crime and the inmates will. Yeah, I don't like cell block justice. Because if you allow one person to unalive another person, then you should allow another person to unalive him, because unaliving is unaliving, and if one unaliving is bad, the next is two. That's why you have to make sure that it's regulated who unalives people. I know there's a lot of cell block justice, but still, in a clear-cut case, I'm all for the state being able. I'm not sure. I think that going by the old rules, if you're a traitor in Denmark as well, you could face a firing squad. But again, we have a very different justice system. As I've said before, a normal murder, don't get me wrong, but is between 10 to 14 years, where you do about 80% of the time. So that's very different from the US. And yeah, that's the problem. In theory, the DP is a good thing, but as we see in this case, we just finagle all the evidence to try to make it seem like someone did do it. I'm not a big fan of it, and that's why I want everyone has to vote for doing the big stuff, because and we can see it here. We've been sitting here for 2 hours today. Nothing happens. No questions. No nothing. And sometimes you see people coming back with DPs very fast, and you should really be having a big discussion about that, because there's a lot of finagling going on with evidence in some of the cases we have been following on YouTube. There's no constitutional requirement that the jury be made up of 12, so they could easily say the jury has to be unanimous, but there's only at jury members. Then what is the difference? I try to see if I can make this make sense. It doesn't have to be 12 people, so they could easily say that I'm sorry, Dave, that text to speak doesn't. But there's only at jury members. Then what is it? Maybe come back. I don't get the. Although women have gained the right to vote in 20, they are not giving the same obligation to the state as men in serving on the jury. No, and they didn't get the obligation to serve in the military. Yeah, follow Free Zachariah Anderson on Twitter, X. Yeah, road rage messaging Dave is the best, Dave. That's I'm having problems. Yeah. Well, we could do the purge in let's say Supermax. Once a year, we have the purge. We live stream it, and make people. We could maybe let's do it in July, and maybe we could build a prison called a Coliseum. We people would really like to see that because back in the day, we went to see people do that all the time. It cleans out the prisons real quick if you put them in an arena and say, "Let's have a go at it." We can make some money, and I'm pretty sure it would sell until they find out how bloody murder really is. It's not like on the movies, especially if you do it hand-to-hand combat. Oh, I could make millions. Which state could I become the dictator of and make the July special of the Coliseum show? Texas, are you in need of a governor? I'm pretty sure I could get Texas aboard with that. And then just live stream it to the world. Kind of like bomb fights and back in the good old days. Roll in Cellborg 99 with Winsworn. I don't know that one. Iris is all for the DP. She used to be. Well, everyone can have a bad experience. Jury is saying that you could just have a jury of one. And then unanimously would be. Yeah, that's right. As long as you don't have the obligation to have more than one person, then yeah, your jury could be one. And then it will always be a surefire thing. But still, I don't like one person with that amount of power because ultimate power corrupts ultimately, and and I just think sometimes politicians do stuff because they want to seem tough and they want to have votes, and they really don't think it through. And I know some states don't have a requirement of 12; they have 6 or 8 stuff like that. I get it, but still, I would like even if it's 2 people that they agree on doing it because it's a capital punishment, and I would really like it to be a unanimous. Brawl in Cell Block 99. Take notes. It seems to be a perfect recipe for the purchase. Well, I think I could make a few money on that. Well, after seeing some of those mishaps that happened, I'm thinking I would prefer a firing squad, but then you have the big problem that some other guys ran into. People who are forced to do that, they don't seem to like it that much. So it's easier to make them push a button, and it's just someone strung to a chair that's getting a needle in the arm. You don't know. It doesn't feel like you have to do it. That's why you don't do firing squad that much because the people who has to pull the trigger seems kind of squeamish about doing it, especially if that guy have been on death row for 10 years and he seems like a nice guy. He just did something stupid back in its use. So, but I like. I think if I should go do something stupid instead of riding the lightning or having. I even believe our Danish company delivers the drugs you use for your unalivings. I think it would it'd be more humane to just get it in the back of the head. Steve Gosney wrote a book about it. Yeah, I really need to get some Gosney books. It's I bet he writes just as he speaks. Super interesting. Yeah, I think I prefer Firing Squad too. Shizzy Wisnot question. I like you then went to Broken Baker. Did anyone else find that you had to thumbs up on Shizzy's and then go to Broken Baker to hit the like again? Shizzy is at the post office, so Shizzy is back, so he can answer the question. He's probably muted.
I liked you, then went to Broken Bakers. Did anyone else find that you had to thumbs up on Shizzy Wisnut and then go to Broken Bakers to hit the like again? Yes. That is what you have to do.
Yeah. CO2 poisoning Yeah, it could be
Mm.
because I know they put a lot of tranquilizers in them before they give him the unaliving drug, and I know it's bad people who get unalived, but still, we should be better than the bad people. So a fast ticket to hell is better than a slow ride to hell. It's just me. I I like us to be better, even though that people think, well, it's punishment and they should suffer every second of it.
Yes.
I can't find anything talking about interviews with previous jurors or anything. I can't find any books about it. I can't find any documentaries. So I don't think anyone has made anything of this case because, again, it's a super boring case to talk about afterwards. That's not like all the smexting and stuff like that because had they brought Mark on or Carla and talked about their love lives, there could be money in it.
Yeah.
But does this? That's kind of boring.
Yeah, it's not one of those kind of trials that would even really register outside of, the circumstances of, the that it was a lesbian couple. That was about the only thing that registers outside of mainstream was like, oh, this is, first ever lesbian married couple that, deleted
Yeah.
one or the other. So
Yeah.
it's hard.
Oh, carbon monoxide. Yeah, but as long as you just sleep and don't. Yeah. Yeah, but still, you just get sleepy. It's kind of like hypothermia. Uh, you don't feel it when you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can go and
Still
check out
wouldn't want
Steve
to go.
Gosney.
Yeah. Steve Gosney's awesome.
Yeah.
Good people.
Well, uh, talking about all of, and we do a lot of things, cover a lot of trials. It could be an interesting question. Public executions, would that have a bigger deterrent on crime than these long sentences? If you
Well,
went to the city square every Saturday and you saw John the Rapist in the stockade or Jimmy the murderer swinging from the lamp pole, would it be a bigger deterrent than knowing that Jimmy went upriver for 20 years? It's just
out of
we
out
have
of
this
sight,
line.
out of mind. I mean, and that's sort of where those end up. And I mean, what about, and we can always give these whatabouts. Imagine a public hanging, okay, and you put it into this perspective. You got a public hanging, but that person on that public hanging is Zachariah Anderson.
Yeah. But again,
I mean,
is it a
and
bigger
I
deterrent?
joke not. I mean, you think about this. How many people think that Zachariah Anderson is innocent of the crimes that he's been charged with and prosecuted and is spending time in jail with? And imagine that is the person that's getting a public hanging. I mean, it puts into perspective, that which you're going, well, this could be a deterrent, but it's still taking the life of somebody.
Yeah, sure. But we, I have to keep my mind going. So I was just thinking because we were talking about doing the purge style. When I become the governor of Michigan, um, to fund the prison system, I'm gonna do every July we'll have the Coliseum games where we clean a few rooms out and the Supermax guys can go at it, and the winner gets to he might be. We could give him a woman or whatever he likes for the night. But back in the olden days, when you did stuff like that, it was to deter other people. And we are saying, well, and again, talking about your justice system contra ours, where you put people away from forever, and we don't do that, and we have about the same recidive rate. It's kind of, I believe it's 92 and 93% goes back to doing crime.
Well,
But
and you
if Jimmy was swinging from the nearest lamppost,
well, and also think about this. You're the Scandinavian countries, what is your ratio of black, white, Hispanic, all the
I think
ethnicities,
we're about 85 to 87% Caucasian.
and probably not very many Hispanic there, I would imagine.
Oh, we're Middle Eastern, mostly when people are Middle Eastern and Northern Africans are primarily our immigrants.
Okay.
Hey,
Because
Dave.
in the U.S., you
Hello.
look at the U.S., it is more of a bread box of it's like, what do you call that, a fruit basket, and where it's just everything is here.
Melting pot. That's what
Melting pot. Thank you. We're a big melting pot with different cultures and different ideas on the way things should be run, and it makes it a little more difficult to regulate those kind of things as you would in a more homogeneous environment.
That's why we have an emphasis on localized government having more power and more authority than the federal government or even the state government. Like we saw it a lot with the vid when eventually the governor got shut down on her stupid orders, and the Supreme Court ruled that it is actually a job for the local county health commissions, which is you have a stronger voice in your county than you do in your state, stronger in your state than you do with the feds. So that's the great idea. Then you have all these local county boards implementing things, and you can attack them easier, and you're closer to the action. But that's the idea. So you had some county health boards that would impose stricter regulations, and other county health boards that would impose looser regulations. But it was a perfect example of how the system is supposed to work.
Right.
And that's the thing too. I stressed during that. I said, watch, everyone is still going to be totally concerned with the federal elections over their local, their cities, their state elections. Did you not realize that like 98% of the laws that affect you come from your local community, people?
Right.
So focus on those elections. Those affect you more than anything else. But there's a reason for that, is because we have these
more homogenous, like with the Scandinavian countries, you're going to have a more homogenized zone. You're going to know, who your neighbors are. I mean, these are, and it's easier to point out. It's like being the kids on the street. By the time you got home, the trouble that you got into down the street that you thought you got away with, by the time you got home, everybody on that block knew you messed up.
Yeah. It's just a different world. Well, I mean, it's still kind of that way in the city. Like, if there's some shenanigans that a teenager gets up to in my local town, everybody knows before the authorities know.
Right.
I'll get an email from the school about something that happened, and I'll talk to my kids about it. They're like, oh yeah, that was so and so. They know. Everybody knows.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very much little groupings throughout, but that's why the more control is there. I noticed I had thrown in the chat earlier that there's no constitutional requirement regarding the number of jurors, and I don't think people understand that. So when they talk about jury needs to be unanimous, it could be, in theory, a jury of one, right? In theory, because it just has to be an impartial jury. And okay, so we say it's unanimous. We'll knock it down to 5 people. In district court matters, in misdemeanors, at least in Michigan, you have the right to a jury of 6, not 12. And those 6 have to be unanimous, but it's only 6. It's not 12. And we don't have the death penalty in Michigan, but there's no constitutional requirement that it even be unanimous. Like in civil cases, they don't have to be unanimous. You just have to have, what is it? I can't remember, 8 out of the 12 or something like that. And granted, we're not taking somebody's life, but the death penalty is not cruel and unusual. It's very common. And 150 years ago, every felony was subject to the death penalty in most states. Now, Michigan never had a death penalty, So I've never ever had to deal with it, but I do know the history of it. That stealing a horse was a felony and subject to the death penalty.
Well, and let me ask you, what would be, and I could be wrong on this, but wouldn't you have a different amount of jury members on a civil as compared to a criminal? In Michigan?
No, it's still 12. I'm trying to think. My last civil jury, it was 12. It's still 12 members, usually a couple of alternates, but they don't have to be unanimous.
Right.
At the circuit court level. So we have two different court levels in Michigan. If you are facing a misdemeanor criminal charge or your civil suit is under $25,000, you're at the district court, your local city court kind of thing. And if it's over $25,000 or it's a felony, you're at the circuit court, that's the county level. At the county level, you have 12 jurors, but they don't have to be unanimous for civil. They have to be unanimous for criminal. And it's the same at the district court level. You just have less jurors. You only have 6.
And other states can be different. Like, for example, someone brought up the Heard Depp, where there was 7 or 9 jurors. So there's just depending on the type of case, some of them could possibly have less jurors than you would find in other places.
Yeah, and again, that is completely a state-controlled thing. I don't think our state constitution has a jury requirement either. Maybe it does, but when I say that there's no constitutional mandate, there's no constitutional mandate in the federal constitution that mandates a specific number of jurors. There might be in certain state constitutions, but not in the federal constitution. So if Florida decided, well, we only want 8 people to condemn somebody to execution, they could do it by saying 8 out of the 12, or they could say unanimous but jury of 8. Or in theory, they could say, a jury of 6 or whatever. It doesn't matter. Hey, Valhalla.
Hey, Val, how you doing, brother? Yeah, I was just curious because somebody had put that up there, and that seemed like it was pretty worthwhile looking into. Yeah, I mean, this right here is just aggravating us all get out, not having any sort of verdict, and like, what is the holdup with all of this time? The holdup, the holdout, and
I guarantee there's at least a couple of people. There's at least 2, and I would say, because I feel like you'd have to have at least 2 to feed off of each other that are in opposition to the other group. There's at least 2. It could be 6, 6 and 6. It could be 4, whatever. We can make up the numbers, but there's at least 2, because if there's only one holdout, I have a feeling, like you were saying earlier, I just want a freaking verdict. You're feeling the pressure. You're not even in the jury room. Right. So if there was just one that didn't have a sounding board, I feel like we would have had a verdict one way or the other by now. So I feel like there's at least 2. I mean, it could be just 1, but I feel like there's at least 2. And given the state of convictions in this country and the way we have seen these juries come out, I feel like there's a majority to convict.
Yeah, and I think I got that from the question that was asked. It sounded like they're wanting to convict, and I think Baker also mentioned this, that it just seems like there's one person or 2 people trying to decide whether they want to have what level or more. At least 2 people that are going, well, I want to have involuntary or whatever. One of those,
or it could have been
hit.
It could have been somebody on the guilty side saying to somebody on the innocent side, don't worry, she's just going to get time served. Just vote to convict. Right. And that's what I was going to say. I think Jamie's question was about the jury process. I've sat in on one jury. I've been a member of the jury. I've sat on one jury. It was interesting. It's a lot of horse trading, right? So you take the poll to begin with to see where everybody's at.
Look who's coming when David's
Oh
here.
my gosh. She saw David was here and she put her eyelashes on real
I
quick
hurried up.
and got
Hey, you didn't move
right
your
here.
desk.
No, I'm not moving my. You know how big this thing is. You didn't see how it's like. Oh, I'm doing.
All the ladies claim it's big. It's not that big.
It's like a corner desk, and it like takes up like half the wall.
Set up a tray table. You need to have that thing behind you.
You should. You should totally have that behind you.
She's got an awesome wall panel thing we saw yesterday after the stream. And it's very cool. We said that needs to be behind her.
I have one in the living room too. It's pretty cool. I don't know why it was there in the house. Shut up.
Yeah, the Jamester is here.
How are
Oh
you?
my god.
Yeah, it's awesome whenever Jamie shows up.
Yeah.
No, but they again, we've been going for 15 hours now with the new jury. Plus the
Well, so that's what I was gonna say with my experience. Now, again, it's not a murder case. It's not a anything big deal. It was so this is the story. Guy is walking down the street on Pontiac Trail in Pontiac and in sort of a seedy part of the neighborhood. Those part of the neighborhoods where you have the hotels that rent by the hour kind of neighborhoods, right? And so he's literally walking through one of those parking lots of a hotel that rents by the hour. And the police officer said he knows this as a drug haven. People rent those places and sell drugs out of the hotels. He knows that. This guy is nowhere near the hotel. He's literally walking down the sidewalk in front of the hotel, or like kind of through the parking lot. And he looks kind of homelessy. He's dirty, maybe a construction worker. I can't remember all the facts, but he doesn't look. He's not in a suit and tie, right? The officer stops him and starts questioning him. There's no reason to stop him other than he was in the parking lot of this place that he knows is a drug den, and starts questioning him. And the guy was like throwing at us. He was like, "Why are you stopping me? What the hell? Go away!" And he was like, "No, come over here." And so he, begrudgingly went over, and he was like, "Let me. I'm going to pat you down." And the guy said no. And so then at the time, I don't know if they still use them. They're like nunchuck-looking things. They're restraint bars. And so the officer grabbed him by the arm with these restraint bars, and you can hold it and hold pressure on like the forearm, and held him with that, and then finally got the guy under control. And sure enough, he had narcotics in his pocket and all that stuff, and he was arrested and put in the back of the cop car. And then while he was in there, he was throwing a fit. He was all angry, and he ended up kicking out the back window of the police car. And then they took him to the station, arrested him, and charged him. They charged him with possession of narcotics and resisting arrest and malicious destruction of police property. Those are the 3 charges. So we hear all the testimony. We've got dash cam video and all that. And in the jury room, I'm thinking to myself, or during the trial, why the hell did this officer stop him? It could have been just me walking down the road. He had no legitimate reason to stop him. Obviously, that, it made it to trial. The court didn't care. But that stuck with me in the jury room. And everyone was like, oh, well, he's guilty. He's obviously he had the drugs on him and he kicked out the window. I was like, but why stop him? Why stop him? I don't feel right about the officer just randomly stopping somebody. I think he even said that could have been you or me. I'm like 19 at the time. This is like 1999. And so, but I was firm in my position, and everyone else was like guilty across the board. And then, so we were debating, and at one point I remember going back to the judge. I think I had convinced a couple of people to my side. So it was like 3-9 or something. And we went to the judge and we're like, oh, we're hung. And I remember it was like maybe a couple hours in or something. And the judge is like, no, you're going to go back in there and you're going to make a decision. So when the judge sent us back in, we're like, all right, well, we got to come up with a decision. He shouldn't have stopped. And so I said, how about this? What if we convict him on the malicious destruction of property and we throw out the rest of the charges? Yes, he shouldn't have been resisting the officer, but the officer shouldn't have stopped him. Yes, he had drugs in his pockets, but the officer shouldn't have stopped him. But once you are under arrest and you're placed in the car, maybe not kick out the window. So maybe just stop there. And so we compromised and went with we found him guilty on the malicious destruction of property and acquitted him on the other charges, which turned out to be like the more severe crime, because of course it was. But that's my experience with the jury. So for whatever it's worth, but that's the kind of the horse trading that goes on. Like when the judge sent us back and said, you got to come up with a decision, we're like, okay, well, let's figure out a way that we can satisfy everybody. It's like mediation. We're not all going to be happy, but it's something we can live with. Right. And that's what we came up with. And that was kind of how I justified it in my mind and convinced maybe a few others to go that way. But that's my story. And then I had like my first prosecutor case when I was a prosecutor. The jury acquitted because we didn't have video. The officer testified about all the stuff that he saw. We had other witnesses. But at the end of the day, he was acquitted because we didn't show video. And so I don't know what was going on with the jury. That was the biggest thing. One guy said, hey, there was no video. I don't trust this officer's testimony if we don't have video. We know he had a camera, but they didn't show any video. Something's not right, and they acquitted. Again, I don't know if there was a lot of horse trading in there, but one guy said that, and he was able to convince the other 11 to go with his acquittal. And that was like 5 hours, 4 hours of deliberation, something like that in that case. It wasn't terribly long. It's not, 37 hours, however long they've been deliberating, but that's what's going on in my mind.
Yeah, but
I don't know if that helps at all.
But to me, we as I said before, we are at a 7-5, 8-4, 10-2 position, and you're locked. Because I know the judge said, we're going to do this as we started all over. No, because the people who spent 18 and a half hours in there is going to have their position. They're not going to budge with the new guys. So they're starting out saying we did a we did a poll. We're going to do a poll right now to see where everyone is standing, and it shows that 8-2 undecided. Okay, and then we talk for a bit before lunch, and then we're going to do another poll, and it's 8-3 undecided, and then we go to the end of the day. It's 9-3 and undecided, no undecided. And then you go back to the next day. You say, okay, go home, really think about it. Think about if you couldn't, because we need to reach an agreement. And then you come back the next day and say, okay, everyone had a good night of sleep. Anyone changed their mind? Nope. And I'm at a point where, because we've been going for 33 hours now altogether. Because I don't give a hoot about what he's saying about start over, because you're not starting over after spending 18 hours in the room. You will you will have that locked position all of those 10 people had before the new people came in there, and they're just beating those two new people, trying to sway them to their position. And that's why I can't see this moving. They must be at some impasse, and if it's guilty, not guilty, or which of the 4 crimes can we agree on? I don't know, but 15 hours. Why not do a poll right? Because it's 11:30. Do a poll now. Go to the judge. Say, well, we have to say before lunch we can't reach an agreement. We are stuck on something.
And so we might be in a situation where the jury is absolutely deadlocked, but the judge is refusing to budge because he knows that this is the 4th trial. The jurors might not know. Like I said, when we came out, like after an hour or so, or hour and a half, whatever, and we said, oh, we're deadlocked, the jury's like, yeah, no, you're going to go back in there. Or the judge said, you're going to go back in there and you're going to make a decision. Because she didn't want a mistrial. It was a nothing case, right? We don't need to redo this trial. So just go make a decision. But in this particular case, this is the 4th trial. This would be the 3rd hung jury after after the conviction was overturned, and the judge might have might be holding out and unwilling to issue a mistrial for a hung jury, and is hoping that if he sweats them out long enough, they might be at an impasse. They might be just convinced that we're never going to agree on this. And the jury and the judge are kind of trying to sweat each other out. It might be one of those situations because the judge does not want a mistrial.
No, but then throw them in a hotel. Don't send them home every night at 4.
That's true. I don't know what Massachusetts laws are regarding sequestration.
No, but again, he even when he found out he had a tainted jury room with only 2 jurors, and those. If you were, let me ask you this hypothetical question: if you were a defense lawyer and you heard that 2 people had been talking about something in the jury room, and all the other jurors said, "Well, we are absolutely sure we can forget everything they told us about the 3rd trial where she was convicted, but we find her guilty now." Would you write that in an appeal that we believe the judge should have overturned the jury right there and started on a fresh one?
Oh, yeah, definitely. That would be written in the appeal. Now, as a defense attorney, I'm still hoping that they're going to come back with an acquittal so we don't have to worry about any of that. But you got to let the process play out. I don't know if I'd be pressuring the judge. But the question is as a defense counsel, are you going to be pressuring the judge to issue a mistrial? Because now you've done it for 4 times. You've won, not one, but you've gotten a hung jury 3 out of the 4 times. Do you want to do this trial again? Do you really want to? Are you hoping for, I don't know, do you want to pressure the judge right now to issue a mistrial? Because we haven't heard the defense, to my knowledge, they haven't spoken up and they said, "Judge, it's time for a mistrial. We have a hung jury."
No, but I would say I would just have written up the papers for my appeal already, saying, well, the judge didn't. He allowed the trial to go on with a contaminated jury.
Was there an objection from the defense regarding dismissing those 2 jury members?
No. And we don't know what is in the note. We just know he said to the jury it was personal why those 3 people were thrown out. But the instruction they were arguing about was something about the previous trials.
Yeah, I remember that. But if the defense didn't put up an objection to ousting the 2 members, they might have lost that right to appeal. You have to maintain those objections. Otherwise, you lose that in the appeal process. So if the defense didn't object.
I think, didn't they make a standing objection about, I think before they had a, before he gave the jury instructions, I believe they did argue something. Did they argue for a mistrial?
Yeah, they did have an objection.
I think they argued for a mistrial before the jury instructions.
No, they were just arguing the instruction of him rereading the jury instructions.
No. I'm talking way before the first time he read the jury instructions.
Right.
They said, and judge, we remind you of our standing objection.
Yes.
Yeah,
and because they asked for.
But specifically on the issue of dismissing the 2 jurors.
Yeah.
Specifically on that issue, did they object to dismissing those 2 jurors, or did they consent to it?
I believe they consented to it after, but I don't know if we heard anything from either side. Like there was nothing discussed from either side that we saw. It might have been something that happened behind closed doors.
Yeah, because there was a long sidebar, and then he yeeted the 3 jurors and sent the other ones home.
And that should still be in the record. Like if you pull a transcript, you should see the defense's objection. Otherwise, the Court of Appeals is going to be like, "Oh, well, you didn't object." Well, we talked about it in chambers, but that's not on the record.
Right.
So hopefully it was a sidebar that was on the record. The court reporter sitting there.
But another thing, questioning the jurors as he did already there
individually.
Yeah. and both sides must have been present in that room. He can't talk to a jury alone. He's not Miss Becky.
I would imagine not. No, he'd have to. The attorneys, at least one from each side, would be sitting in the chambers, and they would bring in a juror member one at a time. Both sides would have to be part of that, and that would still have to be documented. Again, this is Maryland, so I don't know.
No, but I was just because he said I'll talk to each of you individually, and he can't do
individually.
that. Yeah, he can't talk to them without representation from both sides in the room. Because
or at least confer with them. Like sometimes if there's a jury question, like you saw it, the note, right?
Yeah,
he has to confer with both counsels before he responds, if he's even going to respond, and then they have to argue out what the response is going to be. So it's the same way if he's conferring with them in any way, or talking to the jury in any way, shape, or form. Like the bailiff is supposed to be the only one that communicates with the jury, and the bailiff's only communication should be, all right, go in this room now. All right, go in that room now. All right, come over here now. And that's about it.
Yeah.
What do you want for lunch?
Yeah. And that's why I thought, well, he can't really go talk to anyone about what they think, they believe that because what would you ask a jury? Would you ask, did anyone talk about the previous trial? No, there was a previous trial. Then he's feeding them the previous trial knowledge that they're not supposed to have.
Yeah, I know that's a tricky one, right? So how would you ask about that? So if the allegation was, hey, we came back and two jury members were talking about, hey, did you hear that she was tried? This is her fourth trial, and there was a hung jury twice, and she was convicted on the third, but it was overturned because of this pain issue. And then, so you get, the snitch out there that reports that to whomever. And if he brings in everybody to question them about that, how would you? Well, I mean, I guess it would be the same as voir dire, right? Are you able to set aside your prejudice or anything that you know about this case that you've heard outside the trial and still issue a ruling based on the evidence that was presented before you? That would be where I think the judge would go with it.
Well, I think one of my questions would be, every single time that he's
made it this morning,
he started in on one of these, every morning he asks if anybody's done any research or anything like that. Every morning he asks the same question. I would think at that point somebody would have spoke up and said, somebody in the jury like saw something, or that they weren't supposed to, or did some research that they weren't supposed to, but that never was brought up. That's why I think it was somebody that came in already knowing something about the case and was trying to sway something one way or the other. I don't think it was I don't think it was as nefarious as someone saying, hey, she was tried 4 times beforehand. I think that they were trying to allude to it and get that knowing about it and trying to convince other people, and in doing so brought up, not necessarily saying that she's had more time, but the question became raised of how much time she would get if she did this, someone trying to be sneaky. And then once the judge started asking questions and digging in, was like, oh yeah, we've got someone on here that's not playing fair, playing nice. We need to remove them from this.
The expert likes your logo, Baker.
Yeah, I just made it this morning after I've been on stream with the expert, because I had to spruce it up when I hang with the cool guys.
So
when were you on stream with the expert?
Is it called Broken Baker Channel? Is it called Broken Baker Channel?
It's just my name. I can't remove the, because someone else has the Broken Baker. So, but I changed my name, if you can see, Broken Baker. Yeah. So, Well,
Cool.
I kind of took inspiration from a certain blind superhero, and then
Yeah, there you go.
because I like the myth's colors, not the myth. Well, I never tried the myth. Maybe I like the myth.
Yeah, but blue and orange is a great color combination. I said that's
Yeah.
my law firm's colors.
Well, that's what I
Blue and
noticed.
orange.
When I saw it. It kind of looked like a sports logo.
Yeah, it's but make it D's instead of B's. Well, we all want that, and make it red. Then you might see some superhero, but I didn't absolutely do anything
No,
to
you
steal
I can
anything.
say that the 4-person. I was just responding to atheist ants. The 4-person in my jury that I was part of didn't have any sort of sway over anyone.
I saw on some other channel that apparently they had a problem even electing a 4-person. It was a rumor, but
Nobody wanted the job because
I
it's
don't
an
know.
administrative job. Nobody wants it.
Right.
Yeah, you missed the discussion about death penalty and what you can ask a jury, and absolutely nothing in the trial. There were a little bit of hair moving past the camera 10 minutes ago. Well, I'm just trying to become American, so I want to move to San Francisco. I think meth and man juice is on the menu down there.
Oh my god.
South Park has ruined San Francisco for me. David got
You got
naked.
naked again?
It happens.
Yeah, scary and hairy.
What are you doing, Dave?
Well, I was supposed to be working, but I wanted to pop on because I threw out the thing about the jury member size, and then I saw some comments, and so I thought I'd hop on real quick. But I do have to make some work calls, and I have the link, so I'll be back as soon as there's a verdict.
We're gonna go on my dinner break at 6 my time, noon Eastern time. So
Okay, good. 20 minutes.
where we
Yeah,
let Lexi
Brent-
and Eris play.
Oh, yeah, yes. The word game where I just throw out random phrases or words.
Yeah. Yeah,
I don't know
wanna
how the game works.
You just literally the letters on.
Have you seen him use text to speak? But the message he sent before, I could absolutely not decipher. I had to have mass.
So what I was trying to say is that Denmark doesn't murder their own; they just murder others.
Well,
That's
we
what
do
it was
murder.
supposed to say, but it didn't come out that way. I don't know what it came out with.
We just had. We have a case ongoing right now with. It's actually. I think it's an Afghan lesbian couple who where one of the wives were pregnant, and then there was a guy who is in. We have a place where if you're not allowed to be in Denmark, but we can't be sent back because of it's not safe and stuff like that. You have to stay in a camp, but it's Denmark. You can go away from the camp all the time you want to do it. It's not like in Germany where you really had to concentrate when you sat in the camp. So they can just run around all over the town, but they are very, very much not allowed to be in Denmark. And he wanted to marry one of those lesbians. Why? I don't know. But then the pregnant one, she kind of got upset or something. So what do? You take a knife to her so you can marry her wife. It's the only thing you can do. So we murder
Seems
each other as
logical.
well. Yeah. So we do murder people that's Danish too. But well, he's not really Danish because he's not allowed to be here. But again, we have this camp where you can just walk out freely, no matter what you're convicted of. That makes you unwanted in Denmark.
I gotta love this socialist utopia.
Yeah, we had a lot. We had a party who ran on. We wanted to put him on an island, and then we got the socialists back in power, and they said no, we can't do that. So now they're talking about sending them to Greenland, because at least on the inland ice up there, they can't do much problems. But that's come. Then we have the EU and humanitarian conventions and stuff like that. But as I said,
The
politicians
EU
will
is
come
going to
with cases.
destroy you guys one day.
Yeah, because
I said I got into a debate, not this last time I was in Sweden, but the time before, about the EU, and I said, just wait. I said, what you have now is how this country started, and one day it's going to be the United States of Europe, and you're going to be kicking yourselves for this. But good luck to you.
yeah, and that's the real big problem is the more power the EU gets, the more power EU wants, and that's and it's super undemocratic because we have the EU where we can elect people to, and Denmark is represented by 14 people out of, I think it's 200 and something, so we have a lot of power, and they can make recommendation that EU should enforce stuff, but then we have an unelected governing body that's appointed by the different governments in the different EU states. They make all the rules. And funny enough, Germany has a lot of power. And if one thing is for sure, Germany should always have a lot of power.
That's right, definitely. All right, well, you all have a good stream. I'm gonna make some calls, and I'll check back in after your lunch break.
Yeah, go out in the rain.
Get some.
Yes, yeah, it started to rain now. Now I got to carry my shit in the water.
And pouring rain.
See you soon.
Have fun.
See ya, guys.
I used to have a crackhead outside my apartment a while ago. He used to just yell F you and spit at people. We named him bath salts, but now they all have knives. Yeah, that's the big problem. Too many knives, too many aggressive people. Especially when they're hopped up on drugs. I saw that one in New York who got stabulated, and his girlfriend, because she thought it's a sad story for the one with the knife. She won't give a description of him. It's just, how did people get that way? I don't understand it.
Me neither.
I visit
Too many
San
wrong
Fran-
turns. That usually is what happens. Too many wrong turns. It's you're not born an addict. That's something you have to work into. And a
No,
lot of
but
people
I think
that they can
think
get it
about
under control.
the entire mindset about that woman who just had her boyfriend stabbed to death, and she don't want to give a description of the perpetrator because it's he's a victim.
Yeah.
And again, I don't care if because this, of course, it's because she's a liberal. No, but again, why do people get into a mindset? I don't care if they're liberal or conservative, whatever. Why did you get into the where you see your boyfriend being stabbed and say, "Oh, it's the perpetrator is the victim of this"? You have to be taught really bad at home or at school to have that mindset. And I don't care again about politics, because a normal human being would say, "Yes, Mr. Police Officer, he was 5'4", white, with a small mustache and a weave," and just get them to hunt the person down because he could do it again. That's what I don't get. Yeah, totally, Pip. We hear a lot about how you in the UK really miss the EU in all our news.
Yeah, that's not true at all. There's a lot of people that are happy not to be part of that.
No, but the intelligentsia wants to get back because, again, the intelligentsia get a lot of power from the EU.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it always works when Germany is in power.
That is the problem with power, is once you get a certain amount of it, you just want more and more and more.
Yeah.
Oops.
This is why we give Jamie all the power, because she doesn't want it.
No, I don't want it.
Mhm.
I hate responsibility, and I hate all of it.
I think that if I ever had someone have a kill switch on my channel, if I had to do something stupid like drink beer for money or dance naked, it should be Jamie, because she wouldn't do anything stupid. She's the responsible adult in the room.
Okay.
Hey,
Well,
Donna.
of course, I was sure that Baker's channel didn't get yeeted. So
Yeah, because I'm not responsible. I mean, that's obvious.
Yeah. You get me my copyright strike. I have to say all the stupid stuff myself. Well, I can get my own. There's babies born addict to drugs that need treatment. I've never seen any statistic. I've never seen, but I know in Denmark, if you're a smoker, your child is more likely to become a smoker. And again, if you grew up in an environment with drugs or alcohol, you're more likely to end up in a lifestyle with drugs and alcohol. So I don't know if you're born with it, it stays for the rest of your life. The child in this case, Cara and Marie's child, was a drug baby. So
Yeah, they
yeah,
died at 6 days old.
yeah, 6 days old drug baby. Yeah, the Labour Party want to sneak you back in. Oh, talking about Labour. I don't know why I said that transition.
Hi, buddy.
Another lawyer in another car.
Yeah.
Lawyers
I'm
and car.
driving to court.
You're
Always.
very low.
That's always fun.
Yeah, the volume's low. I've come in with it really hot before on the mic,
Yeah,
so
I
keep it turned down.
I put you on automatically adjust, so it should even it out.
Yeah. So we still have nothing in this damn jury. This is ridiculous.
Yes.
Yeah, we are close to 16 hours now. On the second go.
40 hours.
Yeah,
Well, they started over from scratch. They would never bring in.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And I still don't get how you can have two people thrown out and say that the jury is pure as snow now.
I mean, if it was purely for personal, or medical issues, I could see maybe, but I don't think that's what it was. I think somebody brought in outside information or something from the previous trials.
Right.
Yeah,
because the judge was not happy.
No, and the way he instructed them after nothing about and the state wanted that part about the sentencing read to them again. To me, it seemed like they have been sitting there saying, "Come on, put her on a involuntary. It's a maximum of 20 years. Come on, can't you just eat that? She'll do 2 or 3 years. This judge is a nice guy. He's gonna let her out easy. Come on." I know she got life before, so she is clearly guilty. But if you don't want to make her guilty, just let us give her involuntary manslaughter.
Yep.
And that's my belief after, and it's just as sure science as you should never date a Scorpio if you're a lion, Leo.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why it became popular again.
Like a hung jury.
What's that?
I said, like, what do you think about the jury stuff? Like hung jury.
That's probably what I'm thinking. That's probably what's going to happen. It's just been so long for them to not go one way or the other. It'd be nice to know what the breakdown is, but
yeah. And that was like
we may never know that.
Yeah, like at what point are they telling the judge, like, we're not budging?
I don't know. I mean, they could do that at any point.
No,
send a note. I mean, just say, hey, we're stuck. Because what was the trial we had recently where that happened?
Oh yeah, Nick did.
Was it the Melly trial or?
Yeah.
One of those where there was a hung jury, and I mean, it was just they basically said, "Judge, we're done. We can't move forward."
Yeah, and I would say
they were stuck.
Again, within 10 to 15 hours, you might have some movement. But if you've been arguing for what's now 34 hours, and I've been here for all of them, you won't move anymore. Even if it's we can.
Yeah, you're entrenched.
Yeah. You leave and MG shows up. It's because
we can't be on stream together.
Oh, you have beef, yeah.
No, it's just like
what happens.
the fabric of space and time rips.
Oh, yeah. But again, as I said, I'm pretty sure Tuesday morning they did a poll saying, okay, you two new guys, this is how the land is. What do you
Yep.
say? And
Yep.
but then I would have done another one at lunch and seen, oh, the new guys split, guilty, not guilty, or went guilty or not guilty. Don't care.
Yep.
At the end of the day, I would say to the judge, we've been at it now for a full day extra, and we don't move anything. And he would give you the Allen
Yeah.
rule or whatever it's called, and
Yeah,
say,
the Allen
okay,
instruction: do something, try to do something. So,
yeah, run backwards all night, jump out a window, do whatever you can to try and reach an agreement. And then Wednesday morning, okay, let's do another poll. Let's get the coffee, take a smoke break, talk for a while. At noon, we're telling the judge we have exactly the same verdict. And he'll say, well, go back and find a new one. Okay, we'll have the enchiladas because it's Wednesday. At the end of the day, we go back and say, Judge, I have smoked 2 packs of cig and nothing has changed. We can't do this. And at some point, he has to let it go.
at some point, the jury's going to have to let them know, let the court know that they're in an impasse.
Yeah.
And unless they tell the judge, hey, we can't move either way, then he's going to make them continue to deliberate. And maybe they like being away from work and getting free lunches. I don't know. I wouldn't. But
And Squab Bob, no, the jurors aren't released yet. They are still sworn to secrecy until the trial is over.
Yeah.
Because
I didn't hear about the ones who were released. Did he tell them that too?
They weren't in the room. We didn't hear anything about it. We were just told 2 people and an alternate was sent home.
Yeah.
So
I don't know whether he gave them an instruction to not speak, or if they're released from jury duty.
Yeah. It's he will have said you're not released from jury duty now because until it's the same thing. We have a 14 days to do an appeal if you want to do that after we give you the sentencing. So we are actually not allowed to talk about. And in all reality, I could talk about all the cases I've done that's not been appealed and stuff like that. But after the sentencing, but we can't talk about it till 14 days after because you could appeal the case. So we're not released right after the case. Say, okay, now you can go talk to the press. And I never heard about a juror talking to the press in Denmark because, again, we do it more than once. Yeah, and the lawyer in the car rule is 437 sub A, 437 sub B, C, and E is you must give Valhalla a wrench. If Valhalla hasn't had a wrench on your channel within 2 days of you making the channel, your channel will be suspended. And the last one is Valhalla must have access to your StreamYard. That's just the YouTube rules.
Yeah, he doesn't have access to mine.
Well, then you're going to get off. No,
Yeah.
you're going to be
Well,
needed off.
maybe.
Yeah, if you're lucky.
Yeah, I'm not going to say anything. That'll just get me in trouble.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about me getting off, especially with Valhalla around.
Well, we got people clipping. Too many people that clip streams to talk about that.
Exactly.
But it's kind of funny that Valhalla, who is this big anti-government type, and the Fed are bad, he's a wrench on every channel on YouTube. But we know how the YouTube and the government acts together.
Yep.
Hey,
he was in the army. Once a glowy, always once a Fed, always a Fed. So
yeah, he plays.
You're never really out of the military.
He's so I'm so anti-government. Anyone want to go take pictures of the governor's house? We on to you, Valhalla. We know what you're doing.
Yeah, the raising goats, it's just a front.
Yep.
I mean, how many goats does Valhalla have now?
He's got a lot.
I mean,
And he's got like, doesn't he have some birds too? Like ducks or something like that?
he has rabbits.
Yeah, yeah.
There's
I know he's got rabbits.
So does
But I thought
the-
he had some birds. I thought he had some kind of bird, some sort of fowl or something.
Yeah. But look at his comeback. I'm way too lazy to be a vet. Have you ever met a government worker?
Yeah. I mean, come on. That's a requirement. What do you mean? I worked for the federal government for about 18 months. It's a requirement.
Hey, Paige, no verdict.
Yeah, we're still here, Paige. There's no verdict.
Yeah, and no one is wearing pants on YouTube.
Yeah.
That's why we only keep it.
I'm not on stream, so I do have pants on.
Yeah. And absolutely, birds in Australia aren't real. And so are the years between, what did I say, 643 and 9/11.
Yeah.
614 and 9/11 isn't real.
Yeah.
So it's facts. We can't argue facts. Yeah, I can hear some black choppers going over my head right now.
I do hear them every now and then around us, but we're close to. We have a military installations near us, so.
19 goats, 8 chickens, 40 ducks, 60 pigeons, 3 pigs, 6 cats, 2 donkeys, 4 rabbits, 2 dogs, 2 turtles, and a snake.
And a partridge in a pear tree.
I just got an alert. There's a verdict.
What?
I said I just got a text message that there's a verdict.
Oh my!
Woo woo! See, I joined the stream finally, and we get a verdict.
There you go.
I should have done this last week.
No, it was because Valhalla was basically showing what he's willing to pay for a wife.
Yes.
Oh.
I think we called him out as a fed, and he just called in and said, "Get the verdict in now."
Yeah, it did. Okay. They're on to me.
We can't have this.
Well, I was just about to put word on screen on. We can come back later and talk about.
I'm glad you did.
Lexi.
We are told there's a verdict in the Cara Rintala trial.
Lexi is so good. Oh my gosh.
Helped him count and memorize the numbers.
I love it. I love it.
But she's not a lawyer, so she can do math. Which is weird because I'm a lawyer and I can't do math. So.
I love it. Lexi,
yeah, my wife called earlier. She's homeschooling our daughter. They were doing math stuff, and there's a particular problem. And she's like, "I thought it was this, but we added the numbers up, and we only got this." And I was like, "Well, you only carried 1 instead of carrying 2." And she's like, "Oh my god!" It's like, well.
Oh my. I'm hoping they do have a verdict and this comes back. And
you probably can check Twitter. If you check Twitter and go to Law and Crime Verdict Watch or whatever.
I got the Twitter message. I saw that.
That's usually where I go for it.
Yeah.
So did they say how long before they read it? Or
all the Twitter message said was, we heard we have a verdict or whatever. I don't know.
Oh, well, it could be that they have a question. You never know.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah, they usually don't send anything out on that Twitter alert. We'll see.
Oh, we'll see. Oh, I thought
Valhalla, we gotta hope it's hung.
Yeah, it's either I'm hoping it's either hung or not guilty.
Well, I don't think they would come back with a verdict. I mean, a verdict is going to be one way or the other.
Right. That's why I was like.
So it's not going to be hung.
Look at that.
So,
genitals is hung like Valhalla.
I don't like that. That makes me nervous.
Every time I hear that screen name,
Jamie doesn't like that genital is hung like
show me
Valhalla.
your genitals.
I'm going to the
Genitals.
bathroom before this goes.
Yes. And we find out they just want to have lunch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, oh.
Well, the way
That's
you
what
know
we're hearing,
juries have been
folks.
going the last year or so, we know what it's probably going to be. So.
I don't want to see it go that way, but
No, because we all know that they did not prove their case whatsoever.
Oh, not at all.
no.
And that's what scares me is like if they actually have a verdict.
If so, I hope they go for an appeal. I mean, immediately. This is bullshit.
Yeah. It's just so hard. I mean, they were lucky to win the last appeal. You know, it's just appeals are for losers, and it's hard to since the court begins with the premise that the jury was right, and they're going to look at everything in the light most favorable to uphold the conviction, which to me is BS. But
well, and I couldn't find any reason for that to be. Damn it, just aggravating and annoying. But we'll find out here shortly.
I know. They're not saying like when they're gonna read it though. Yet. Oh wait. No.
what did I almost say, genitals?
Almost said it.
Almost said what?
So hard.
I did say it's so hard to get it overturned on appeal. So hard.
It's like watching paint dry. Well, we're experienced in this, but we
They
should be getting
have an expert in paint drying.
I mean, like, I don't know. Makes me think.
Got their expertise in watching paint dry during the Murdoch trial.
Mm-hmm.
Baker, get out of the line.
I didn't hit the like button. Have you?
His little heads pop out.
That happens.
Yeah, Baker will be happy to just finally get some sleep. And I'll just be happy to not be thinking about this anymore. That'll be one thing for sure.
Well, now it's getting exciting.
The anticipation.
Yeah, and I'm probably I have a meeting in 2 hours, so it's pretty good. But I have said that I might be not showing, so I should. And we were talking about going to the movies too, me and Cernbird. So now I can do all the fun things, and I'm probably just gonna write Mo and say, "Oh, do you need a co-pilot?" If she's doing the box boy thing.
Oh yeah. And Eris is right. Shame on you, expert, for not smashing the like button.
Yes.
Yeah.
You gotta press all the buttons. We normally don't want you pressing buttons, expert. But
no, on other channels.
Or you can do it on other channels. Don't do it on your own channel because you cut the stream off after the intro.
I'm gonna come.
And so is the verdict. Oh, and she just left. Of course she did.
Well, she's done.
Finished.
She came and went at the same time. There's definitely a smash of the button. She wants the button smashed.
Yeah, and I have to again say thank you so much for all you patient viewers, because I have just been rambling for close to 1.5 days of nothing. in total. We're getting real close to 35 hours of nothing going on screen. But you have kept my view numbers above 40 all the way through, and
Good.
for me that's really good. And we're 68 people right here right now, and
Awesome.
it makes me believe that most of the stupid stuff I say, some people want to hear about all my crazy stories.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think we got a verdict.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Yeah, your internet. Yeah, I know, but a rambling baker doing ramblings need he needs some time to make his baking studio. Now I have the time for it, and I'm
Lord,
probably
I was
not going to do
born
it.
a rambling man.
Do we have a verdict?
We have a verdict.
We have a verdict.
Yes, apparently.
We're just
What are we
waiting.
gonna do now?
Well,
Not guilty. Not guilty.
We know what Jamie's going to do.
I rarely ask my genitals what I'm gonna do,
yeah,
but whenever I do,
yeah, they only have one
the
answer.
question is,
Yeah, I'm fearing it now that when we're getting close to it.
Yeah.
Well,
Did they give a time when they're going to read the verdict?
nope.
Because usually they'll say 15 minutes or, in an hour or whatever. And sometimes the courts will say, okay, if we get a verdict and we'll read it at the top of the next hour. So if you turn it in, say you have it at 10 after the hour, we won't do it till the top of the next hour. Stuff like that to give people time to.
No indications anywhere about when and where it will happen.
maybe they're taking lunch.
Yeah.
Oh, I
No,
came
no.
on too soon.
They'll do it after lunch.
Oh, well, that's a kind of a personal problem there, Dave. You got to work on that.
Don't come.
Yeah. Jamie's
Dave came too soon.
Always say.
Even had some disappointment in your voice there, Jamie.
Came too soon.
No,
Have you heard
I don't
compilation?
think he's gonna tell the jurors. You just hang in there, because he does lunch at 1, so that'll be 45 minutes from now, and then an hour lunch. I don't think he'll do that.
Whatever.
No,
He'll
I think he
probably
wants
be
to get the hell out of there.
Whatever. He'll say, well, let's
Hopefully.
come back tomorrow. Verdict.
Yeah, we'll read the verdict tomorrow. He already knows what it is. He's like, yeah, she's going to spend the rest of her life in jail, so we'll just come back tomorrow. What's one more day? Because we know what's going to happen.
Dave made a really funny compilation of all the ridiculous phrases that have been said on all the channels. It was funny.
Yeah, clipping more and more. So we're gonna have a full dialogue
movement.
Yes.
Hopefully, we won't see you again for the 5th trial.
Oh God.
Well, hey, it's content, baby.
But if there is a 5th
people are in the
trial,
courtroom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everyone keep your clothes on, because now we have a verdict.
We have a verdict, so bring in the jury.
Wow, they're doing it right now. I twatted it out to everyone.
You twatted it. Thank you.
Twatted it.
I put him down a bit because his car picks it up. No, he said verdict, so there would be a guilty or not guilty.
Not guilty.
please.
Please not guilty. Guys, come on.
Hey, Brandon, if the volume's loud, I don't have control over it. Baker put me on automatic.
I put you down.
Okay, good.
Always putting MG down. I see how you are.
Jurors, please remain standing. Defendant, please remain
Can't
standing.
hold me down.
Hola.
You may.
What say you, Madam Foreperson? Has the jury agreed upon its verdict in Hampshire County Indictment 1180 CR 0128, the Commonwealth versus Cara Rintala? If you could please give your verdict slips to the court officer.
Guys, come on, come on.
This is better than watching a.
Oh, the crinkling. Jeez.
Please return the verdict slip to the foreperson. What say you, Madam Foreperson, as to count 1 of Hampshire County Indictment charging the defendant, Cara Rintala, with murder? Is she not guilty, guilty of murder in the first degree, guilty of murder in the second degree, or guilty of voluntary manslaughter?
We, the jury, unanimously find the defendant guilty of voluntary manslaughter.
What?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yep.
Members of the jury hearken to your verdict as the court will record it. You, upon your oaths, do say
It's
that
a
the defendant,
compromise.
Cara Rintala,
Compromise.
is guilty of voluntary manslaughter. This is the unanimous verdict of the jury, so say you, Madam Foreperson. So say you, all members of the jury.
You guys are idiots. Y'all are idiots.
It was
They
a
wanted to go home.
I know.
Yep. So best thing to do is hopefully she'll get time served.
They should let her go home.
She did
Yeah.
5 years for the third trial. This is voluntary manslaughter. That I believe the sentencing range was it 20 years?
Yeah, but I think that's the top end.
Yeah, that's probably up to 20.
Yeah, that's 20.
Okay, members of the jury, on behalf of the court, I want to thank you for the significant amount of time and attention that you have dedicated to this matter. I'm going to send you back to the jury room one last time. I will be back shortly to talk to you one last time.
They're a bunch of idiots. That's what they are. Bunch of
Yes.
She was guilty of voluntary manslaughter, and the blonde is the court reporter, and she's not that pretty when you see her up close.
No.
I don't
It's
That's
a
what I-
compromise.
hate more than anything compromise.
It's clearly a compromise. She got the first
Yeah.
the last time around.
Yep.
And someone
that-
had said,
That goes out in jury rooms.
yeah, of course it goes on in jury rooms. They've been in there for 34 hours. They want to go home.
Yep.
You're ruining somebody's life because you're
Yeah, because you're tired.
Yeah.
fucking weird. I'm so irritated right now.
Commonwealth?
Your Honor, the Commonwealth moves for sentencing. We would request that Cara Rintala's bail be revoked in the interim, and we would request a brief continuance of the sentencing to allow the Commonwealth to consult not only amongst
Yeah.
itself, but with
They normally do that.
Cochran's family. We would ask for something perhaps as early as next week. As far as the bail revocation, Your Honor, as you know, voluntary manslaughter carries a maximum potential penalty of up to 20 years in state prison. The the Commonwealth does intend to request an additional period of incarceration for the defendant. Given the stakes, we believe that revocation of her bail is appropriate.
They didn't prove anything. How the hell?
Would continue her bail when she was faced with a homicide, first-degree murder indictment, which had the possibility of life without the possibility of parole. She came to court every day. She appeared at every appearance. She has a GPS on her ankle. We would be looking for about 2 weeks to put together a sentencing memo, Judge. We would be asking this court to consider imposing time served, which was something that we discussed before this trial even happened.
And I'd be asking for a judgment notwithstanding the verdict.
Something that we are going to ask the court, and we want to put together in a coherent way, and we need 2 weeks to do it, Judge. We would ask that my client her bail not be revoked under the circumstances. She faces less time now than she did prior to this trial. And
Next week.
She has had no issues at all with respect to any of the GPS concerns. She's reported to probation as she is required to, and so far she's already served 7 years, Judge. 2 years prior to trial and 5 years post-conviction.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I don't know what I'm going to do when it comes time to sentence the defendant. I understand that she's been out for some time. Was facing a more serious charge than the one that she's just been, or of which she's just been convicted, but she stands convicted at this point. So I'm going to revoke her bail.
You asked.
Do you have a date in mind? I think 2 weeks is the defendant's request.
I'm sorry, Judge. Can I just finish?
Sure. Yeah, the afternoon would be better.
Yeah. Why? That's all she's wondering. Just why.
Yeah, and I don't. The 2 jurors being dismissed has got to be an appeal issue. I mean, that's just awful.
Don't go out 2 weeks. Go 2 days.
Just do sentencing now. Let's get it over with.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
They have probably some stupid victims' rights statute.
Yeah, screw that.
Right to notice and talk.
No, sorry. Follow the trial. That's your notice. We're having a trial. You can be here or not.
Or 11 a.m. Madam Clerk, we're requesting October 19th.
Okay, 2 weeks.
At 11 a.m. or 2 p.m. 11 or 2, whichever to the court's preference.
And I agree with Old Line Red. They were already thinking of compromise, finding something with that jury question.
Would 2 o'clock?
That's so wrong.
Be sufficient time?
Yes.
Okay.
October 19th at 2 p.m. That's for sentencing. Cara Rintala, after bail having been revoked, you are in the custody of court officers.
Go.
I go back and speak to the jury, but I just want to say to the lawyers that it's been my pleasure to preside over such a well-tried case. Your dedication to this case and your craft was evident to me, and I'm grateful for it.
Oh,
So thank you.
give me a break.
Yeah, the defense did a wonderful job.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't pull the jury. That might not be. No.
I mean, the jury's they're going to say that it's their verdict. I mean, they're not going to admit that it's not unanimous.
Yeah.
No. This is, in my opinion, and I have only crap opinions because I don't know anything. This is because they want to go home and sleep.
Yep.
They don't want to sit here anymore. They're just as annoyed as all of us, and they were stuck at 5-7 or 8-2, 8-4 or something like that. And they said, "We'll never send her away for life because we don't feel they reached it." And then they said, "Well, we do have involuntary manslaughter. It's 20 years, but she's gonna get. She's been to prison already. She's a good girl. She hasn't done anything bad, and she'll get a slap on the wrist. Can we compromise on that? And she'll end up having 10 years or something like that, and probably get off with time served. Okay, let's go home and have dinner.
Like, do you realize how much that screws up somebody's life?
I do, but the 12 people in there don't
care. Somebody
until it happens to someone they know.
Yeah.
Valhalla, the system is the greatest system that's ever been conceived. The problem is it involves people, and the people screwed up in the system, not the system itself.
Well, and the jurors are not educated properly on their role anyway, so they don't understand a lot of these things.
Should have kept her bond going, especially if it was to be considered time served. If that's a realistic thing, the bond should have been maintained. Shouldn't have been revoked.
Yeah, I mean, she's not a risk to flee, to go anywhere.
Oh
no,
how long has she been out?
She's been out 1.5 years.
I can understand she's been convicted, and so that's what he's saying. She's been convicted of it.
Yeah.
So she should be in jail, but
no, not necessarily. In theory, the judge could sentence her to probation, which means
he could sentence
her.
her.
But you're really breaking up, Dave. We lose half of what you're saying. And Valhalla, sentencing guideline is up to 20, as I remember it.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
voluntary manslaughter. So it was an accident that happened.
Well, this has been a long week so far. Sorry, I'm going to have to jump out of here pretty soon. This is.
Nothing much
pleasing.
else to now. I'm sad that we got a verdict, because I can see that one. And again, these are people wanting to go home to see their family, and they were stuck. The judge probably
they're going home to see him every night.
Said, no, but what happened is they have probably reached out to the judge, say, Judge, we are stuck, and he said, you have to figure this one out, and they said, okay, let's give her the easiest way out. Because we won't budge between the guilty and not guilty, so we're going to give her the lesser sentence.
Then a bunch of spineless worms is all I can say.
Thank you, MG.
Yeah, but have you met people?
Well, I know.
Well, and I think what is even more
I can be quite
annoying
belligerent, so I wouldn't.
I think what is
wouldn't be
most
budging.
annoying about this is if somebody else, and I'm just putting it out there, say for example, someone that might play saxophone and look like a Coca-Cola. What if they did this? They just got away with it, and they're not going to try to even go after them or convict or search into it even further, because we got our criminal, which means that somebody is
getting
walking
away with it. Yep.
Well, oftentimes the state, even if there's an acquittal, they'll be like, well, we know we got our man, we just lost the case, and they're not even going to look for the person who actually did this. They got their man in their book, they checked it off, that case is closed, move on.
That's true. That's just,
and that's what people need to realize. So this is why this is such an important decision. It's not, don't take this lightly. It's somebody's life, man. And if you're in the jury room going,
and it's not just her life. That's the thing. It's not just her life. It's
the kid too.
It's her family, her kid.
But the compromise verdict, which is clearly what it was.
Oh yeah.
Is disgusting. That's more disgusting than just anything else.
Than them coming back and saying first degree. I mean, because this is so clearly a compromise to get the hell out of there.
Yeah.
So
I believe that.
Voluntary manslaughter or voluntary?
It was voluntary manslaughter.
Okay, which means, so under the law, voluntary.
She committed an act she just did not intend.
Yeah, it's the heat of the moment.
Whether it's it was she pushed her and didn't mean for her to fall down and die, or
yeah, like pushing somebody down the stairs and they result and it results in a death, but you didn't intend to kill them, but you did intend to. That's kind of a voluntary manslaughter, as opposed to like second-degree murder, which again is an intentional act, but you didn't intend the death. But it's really risky stuff.
Yeah,
so
it's like shooting someone. I didn't mean to kill them, but they ended up dying from a gunshot wound. It's an inherently dangerous and reckless act to, indifference to life.
So that's
to shoot someone.
It just makes me want to scream just at the top of my lungs because
Yeah.
it
But how do you
was like the jury did not pay any attention.
How do you justify voluntary manslaughter in what we were shown?
Exactly.
Well,
Because you want to go home to your wife.
I know, but guys, this is.
But they're not sequestered. They go home to their wife every night.
Yeah, but you
So
get.
it's not like they're. If they've been sequestered like OJ's jury for 9 months, I could see it.
But you're getting $15. So a defendant convicted of voluntary manslaughter in Massachusetts shall be punished by the state prison for not more than 20 years, or in jail or house of correction for not more than 2.5 years. I don't get that one. The potential consequences may be found at Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 265, Section 13. And what does Section 13 say?
All right. Well, I'm jumping off here, going to eat lunch. If you're still going whenever I get back, well, then I'll see you then.
In Valhalla, she's already served 7 years. I think 2 years before.
2 years before, 5
trial
years
started,
after.
and then 5 years after she was convicted in the third trial. Before it was
See you,
overturned.
Shishi.
See you guys.
Guys,
Yeah, and Section 13 said manslaughter, punishment, business organization as defendant. I don't know why that's involuntary. Whoever commits manslaughter shall, except of hereinafter provided, be punished by imprisonment in the state prison for not more than 20 years, or by a fine of not more than $1,000 and imprisonment in jail or a house of correction for not more than 2.5 years. Whoever commits manslaughter while violating the provisions of Section 102 to 102C includes of Chapter 266 shall be imprisoned for the state prison for life or any terms of years. So a maximum of 20 years is what she's looking at.
2.5 years at a county facility as opposed to 20 years in a state facility is what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't get why do you get off easy if you go to the.
Oh, it's because so in Michigan, if you serve more than like a year and a half, you automatically get transferred to the state facility. But if you're sentenced to like a year, you'll stay in the county facility.
Yeah. Oh, so if you go above 2.5 years, you automatically go.
Yeah, so apparently 2.5 must be the minimum, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anywhere from 2 to 20.
Yeah.
She already did 7 years.
Yep.
So realistically, he's been watching this trial. I think he did the third one as well. Will he be lenient?
No.
I mean,
her sentence was life, right? Because it was first.
Yeah.
It was for first degree. So
no parole too. Yeah. So.
Yeah. And there's a chance this one gets overturned on some of the BS. So his best way to avoid another trial is to give her time served.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He will be
outcome.
lenient. He will be lenient because then they won't appeal this this case.
If they give her time served, she's going to walk away. She's not going to appeal it.
No, that's what I'm saying. So if he's
exactly.
lenient,
or
with
even
her,
if she gets, 8 or 10 years, this is going to take. It took 5 years after the third one for it to get overturned. So,
but why going to be lenient if that's his mindset? Why did he revoke bail? He didn't have to.
No, he's probably going to give her, 10 years, and then knows that by the time that appeal gets heard, her 10 years will be up.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, but he could give her 10 years, and the three of them. Is it probation or what do you call it when you can go home and not do anything?
Yeah.
Parole.
Yeah, parole.
Yeah, parole.
But it may be 10 plus however many years of parole.
Yeah, but again, if
Supervise.
he's not, if he's leading her to prison, yeah, he's not gonna be super easy on her. But still, he could do say, well, you get 10 years because he can see this case as BS too, and then give her parole, and get her out of his face. Oh, the kitty cat.
Well, and then she's basically had the last couple of years on parole. I mean, just in probation. She's been at home under bond, but you know, she apparently hasn't messed up at all. So
yeah,
Yeah.
there's really no reason to drag it on.
Like, why? Yeah, like, I was going to ask that too, but you guys are answering it. Like, why would he revoke bail like that? Because it makes me think that he isn't going to be nice to her.
No, but again, it is involuntary manslaughter. Voluntary manslaughter. It's a big one.
Yeah.
So again, just to seem, yeah, I take this serious.
Maybe he's placating the prosecutor.
Yeah.
It could be, and just in 2 weeks he's just going to let her out. I don't know.
Yeah, could be.
I mean, I could see she's been convicted at this point. Typically, every time, even in any of the other trials, they revoke bond immediately upon conviction, and then they set sentencing out, however far, no matter what the sentence is going to be. So,
yeah,
I can understand that. It's more of a procedural thing.
Yeah, I think because of the severity of the crime she's committed of, he has to do it to save face. If you just let her off, and because again,
I don't think it would have mattered what the conviction was for. Unless it was one that would be punishment less than what she's already served. Some secondary charge that only carries a sentence of 2 years or 5 years, and she's already served 7. There's no reason to keep her because he can't sentence her any more than what she's already served.
No, and Iris, yes, she will have a felony over her head for life because the jury found her guilty, and that's we get angry, we get annoyed, we feel sorry for this lady because we watched this trial with completely different eyes. But again, justice has been served.
No, it hasn't.
And kind of like in the Zachariah Anderson case, the jury is always right until it's overturned by another jury.
No,
the jury is always right. That's and remember this: 73 people who are here right now.
Hey, I'm sorry, I gotta jump off.
Yeah, we're gonna end in a minute, so thank you for stopping by. Everyone, go follow MLS. But remember, all of you who are sitting here asking every lawyer, "How do I get out of jury duty?" This could be you. Your car had a little throttle problem, and you hit another car. That's involuntary manslaughter. And 12 people are arguing in there because they really want to go home after 35 hours of deliberating. Do you want them to be the ones who are smart enough to get out of jury duty, or do you want to have the ones who are stupid enough to have to do jury duty? That's what I would like everyone thinking about when we're finishing this stream. Maybe next time you get the letter, say, well, it's a bit of a hassle, but I've seen how juries work. Not all of them are good. And on that high note, I think I'll go make myself some dinner. I'll drink a beer and get angry, and maybe I'll have to figure out what I'm gonna do tomorrow. Maybe clean out my garden and not sit here anymore. Thank you, all of you, MG, Jamie. Thanks, all you people in chat who kept me entertained through this 35 and a half hours without any content. It's been a long week for me, but I love you all for hanging out with me, and thank you so much for stopping by. Please do all the clickety clicks on
subscribe,
all the
fun stuff.
Yeah, on all the
I need
channels.
like 11 to hit 500, so if there's 11 of you out there.
Yeah, everyone go subscribe to MG Law.
It's not going to help me get monetized yet, but
No, but for me, that's the biggest hurdle. For you, it's the watch hours. I would much rather
Well,
have
I've got
to
the watch hours. I'm over 5,000 watch hours.
Oh, you're on the 1,000 too?
11 people. 11.
It's
Yeah, but just to make something positive out of this day, everyone go to MG Law, subscribe to him, because this day has it's been a really, really bad day. This lady,
yeah, she didn't deserve this.
she didn't deserve this, but I can totally see why we ended up where we ended, because people wanted to go home for lunch.
Yep.
And remember, guys and girls, if you're called for jury duty, maybe do it and do better than these people. That's all I have to say. Thank you all for watching. See you down the road. MG, Jamie, thank you for joining me. Bye.